Hello? Alright, hey everybody, that was a noise, that was a sound test for
I'm not going to contribute to this.
20 grams of sugar. Anyways, so...
You think that's a lot?
Welcome everybody to the first recording.
65 grams of sugar.
Bro. Welcome to the podcast, everybody.
Yes.
I'm your host, Dipshit McCumface.
Episode 4.
Welcome to Sponsored by Disney. An official podcast, official Disney podcast.
We would like to thank our sponsors, Dollar Shave Club.
Or NordVPN.
Yes, or NordVPN, and also Harry's Razors.
I don't know that one.
Yes, and Stamps.com.
Apparently you haven't been watching enough Disney podcasts, sir. Anyways, so,
Also, the Israeli Ministry of Culture.
God damn it, Jack! How long have we been going?
About a minute.
1 minute. 1 minute, Jack, and you're going off about Israel. Alright. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. That's not very... talking about Israel is not very advertiser-friendly.
I just said the word Israel. That's all I did.
You said Israel culture.
No, the Israeli Ministry of Culture.
And that was all I
said.
said.
All Israel.
We're going to start another recording.
No.
That's an executive decision.
Okay, fine.
As soon as
That was the perfect start. What are you talking about?
As soon as the death to Israel came out, I was like, hell no.
Not what, it wasn't the Free Palestine part?
No.
By the way, that's in the new
Are we putting
recording.
this online?
No.
No, we're just
Well,
showing
what?
this.
Who fucking cares? Owen?
I can't.
You care? Okay.
I'm gonna like go through this and like listen again, and it's like, God fucking damn it. Alright, so we're gonna start now.
I'm just gonna place the Free Palestine death to Israel in every couple of minutes.
Welcome to the first recording of the Dark Heresy campaign. Started on September 27th.
Captain's log, February 27th.
This is
Do
definitely
you think
not-
this is February?
You know, I meant to say September. I don't know why I said February.
Okay, now that we've proven that we don't even have the basic competency to know what month it is, we shall now begin the session. So everyone's got their character sheets, everyone's at 2,600 experience points level, and we're going to be playing in first edition. If there's any conflicts on the sheets, say that now, but we're going to get started. So, I want to start from the perspective of Herhold. For a moment, if you will, there is, just from your perspective, there is, oh, what?
Nothing.
The way he reacted.
Huh? Oh, yes.
I am paying attention.
No, so I'm going to interpret that as what Jack just said, as what Herhold just said, because he's just been woken out of his bunker because they're going to go on parade today. His sergeant has been rushing everyone out of the bunker. We all have to get ready for the parade. We're going to have a special visitor for the Planetary Governor.
The sergeant's commanding the commissar? I
I
feel like that's heresy.
You put on your standard flak uniform, and you grab your
my commissars.
you grab your las gun, which you apparently got from a shipment of the local Mechanicus the other day. Apparently,
I was surprised it wasn't wooden.
You stand up in front of scores upon scores of guardsmen, and your commissar.
What happens when the tech precedes the toaster?
And your commissar stands in front of the line and begins to deliver a speech, as he goes on about how you shall be purveyors of truth and justice,
Well,
and
this is
everything the Imperium stands for.
The American way.
That's going on in my...
What?
As your commissar paces back and forth, you see a inquisitorial dropship land in the distance, and a man in a wheelchair and a retinue emerge. Over your head flies a eagle, a twin-headed eagle, golden in light. And then you wake up again. You're back on, which is
I hit X to skip cutscene. This is
you
finally awake.
You're in your garb, your commissar's garb, and you are in a crowd of acolytes. You see people of a variety of backgrounds. You see the red cloaks of the Martian warriors. You see hunched over adepts with scribbling furiously at their scrolls. You stand in front of the engraving texts that you saw on your first trip to Witch's Bane, which depicted the stories of and legacy of your Inquisitor. You and a small handful of acolytes enter this inner sanctum of Lord Inquisitor Harkell the Ashen. The room is silent save for faint chants and the dripping of water. I'm going to change the music right now.
Chanting. Jack.
Alright, so now okay. So you and a small handful of acolytes enter the inner sanctum. The room is silent, save for the faint chants and dripping water. The sanctum is ornately decorated with lavish engravings that depict exploits of the Inquisitor, entire sagas committed to the very stone you walk upon. But as you approach, you realize the engravings are soaked with an ichor-like fluid. Before you can analyze this further, he speaks. Ah, yes, the acolytes. You all look up to see the sarcophagus of Harkell suspended above the center of the chamber, hooked up by a jungle of wires and tubes, all feeding life-sustaining fluids into what remains of the legend's frail body. The chassis of the sarcophagus is adorned with seals indicating great virtue, all but obscuring rows upon rows of high Gothic text engraved into its life-sustaining shell. You've come to me the tide of grieving, admits the Inquisitor in a raspy voice, amplified by a vox system. Once I have concluded my ritual of sorrow, I shall address you formally. You look down at the floor below the angled sarcophagus to see a golden brazier collecting bloody tears seeping from his vision slit. Do you know what day it is? Before any of you can answer, he goes on. This holiday goes on by many names in this vast imperium, but I know it as the day as one of the great sons of the emperors fell in battle. The emperor's angel, the pride of the ninth, Lord of Imperium Secundus. Oh, how I miss him so.
Is it Sanguinalis?
Yes.
Is this Hunger for Border? Yes, this is Hunger for Border.
Won't you join me in mourning?
That's all I know.
You see as the acolytes around you drop to their knees in prayer, staining their hands with the same ichor you now realize as blood pouring from the brazier into the pattern of tiles at the center of the room. After prayer, you rise to your feet to accept your mission from Harkell. As he speaks to you, the tears continue to drop from his suspended sarcophagus, staining a strain of silver-gray hair that hangs out of the slit in the visor. My transition to this state of undeath has been completed, and with this new form, I can no longer serve the Emperor as my mortal self once did, explains Harkell. I must enter a long rest until a time when I am needed most, and because of this, my sect needs a new leader. As he says this, you see a few heads perk up in the crowd of acolytes around you. All of you present have served the Imperium.
Who are perking up?
Show dice.
What? Show dice. Show dice.
Show dice.
I wouldn't mind knowing that either.
Yeah, sure.
What is that check though that he's making?
It's not very. I guess
Awareness?
what really it is performance a basic skill? Because
Performance. Performer. No, it is not.
No, okay. Because really, it's less of a you can see people out of the corner of your eye, but to get a good look on them, you'd have to break this air of I don't know. Being you essentially have to pay attention. It's very important. This is extremely important.
So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so we just stay.
Yes. All of you present have served the Imperium as my watchful eyes, but some of you are destined for something much greater. The speech is suddenly interrupted as a horrible hacking noise is heard echoing from within the coffin. He resumes. Each of the inquisitorial teams present in this chamber shall be presented with one final test, in order to prove their ability to lead others in times of great peril. If those teams are successful in this task, they shall be elevated to positions of interrogators. At present, the Imperium faces its darkest days, and it is up to the Inquisition and its many scions to watch over humanity and ensure the Imperium survives the threat it faces on a daily basis, whether that be outside or from within. Go forth. Prove to the Inquisition that you possess the willpower to do what is best for humanity in these trying times. As Harkell speaks those final words, the chamber doors open once more, and the acolytes are seen shuffling towards the exit. As you leave, you can see over your shoulder a small retinue of tech priests and servitors that begin to service the sarcophagus. One of those priests is unmistakably Derith. Cut.
Is this fucking Necron?
So wait, so he was like speaking with like mouth words and not like Stephen Hawking words?
He's, well, as with Dreadnoughts all have a variety level of like the body within it and how it can function. At this current state, because he's only been interred for past few months, because this is all happening in sequence with the Derith campaign, his body hasn't decomposed to a point where he can't speak.
Aren't dreadnoughts a space marine only thing?
No, but
Don't you need all the organs?
no, not necessarily. A sarcophagi is something else.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is just.
You said dreadnought, so.
Yeah, you're talking about dreadnoughts.
I meant to say sarcophagus.
Yeah. Okay.
That would make a great final
I was
boss.
confused because I was imagining the Inquisitor walking around with dreadnought bodies saying all of this.
Oh, you can do that, but not now.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's,
is it like
it's just
you
you,
can
you
put
know the
sarcophagus into the
No, but I think
carriage,
he's talking
and
about
then
how he's
move
about to be interred for a long rest while walking around in a dreadnought.
yeah,
No,
I was
no.
just like,
the sequence, if you guys weren't paying attention, was that the sarcophagus, the part of the dreadnought that you can see, like the centerpiece,
Dreadnought?
is basically dangling over the brazier in like an angle form like this.
a uvula or whatever.
Uvula?
You know, the thing in the throat.
The uvula?
Yes, actually, I said that.
So, cut forward. You have embarked on a small transport, low-profile transport outside of Witch's Hammer. You see as you leave the ship that a warp tear opens as it jumps into warp space. You're hovering over the planet of Gatovia Minoris. You're being briefed on this mission as the Inquisitor, in his infinite wisdom, has selected you, of all people, to lead this mission. And in this particular instance, he's chosen to have you with people you're unfamiliar with. So you're basically, you have like a scroll that's telling you all of the information about your mission. So Gatovia has sent out this is Gatovia's moon. Gatovia is a gas giant. Gatovia Minoris has sent out a distress call a few hundred years ago, and they were talking about ecological disaster and need for support. You are sent on this mission with minimal supplies and resources from the Inquisition to
take the rubber band off.
that holds it together. This doesn't. It's like this is a very weak plug.
Oh,
And this stuff holds it.
Yeah, you've been sent on this mission to confirm that there is a human presence still alive, determine what they were doing on this planet, and essentially, if the Planetary Governor is still alive, to listen to his whim and ensure everything is okay. Because although you have not been briefed on the purpose of this planet, you have been informed by the supplementary documents that Gatovia was a research outpost. So as you're flying in space, you're just suspended above the planet. You can hear a pilot chattering. There's a small crew, say, like half a dozen people wandering around. As you're in like an area by yourself. You are with about, I'd say, 4 or 5 other acolytes. Although Noah and Gabe will play as 2 of those, the other ones are left over for if Olin wants to join in and make his character, or if one of our characters.
Are they all wearing red Star Trek shirts?
No. They are all well-known acolytes of the Inquisition.
Okay.
Some of them may even be former compatriots, but right now it's ill-defined, so that if Olin wants to play,
Jimmy may or may not be here.
Yes. But yeah, so you've all been provided with that scroll giving you the information, and you now have you have like a few Terran pattern hours before you make planetfall, and you can discuss what you're gonna do.
I'm just like, my character is like in the middle of this speech. He just barges into the room. He's got blood splattered all over half of his body. He's like, what I missed?
I would like to ask a question about what happened before then with my bag of teeth.
It is assumed that all of your personal belongings have been stored on the ship, if not necessarily.
No, but he wanted to make.
But I wanted to make knives for
everyone in the.
Like I wanted to make like 40 knives that said Task Force Herhold on them.
That's your fucking name.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It is assumed that in Herhold's great wisdom, he did such a thing in that time.
I'm gonna hit my head against
Herhold's
the wall.
great wisdom.
Yes.
Wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like I'm making it look like you're my bodyguards or something.
So are you insinuating you want to give this, say, I'd say, do you have any trades, like manufacture weapons yourself, or do you
Give
have...
them to me.
Pay someone
I
to
can
make them.
make.
Yeah, how much throne belt do you have on you?
I have
Pay me. I want your money. I have trade armor. I just want to make a roll, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Can I roll trade copyist?
That is not relevant.
Does not help.
Copy though. You write Task Force Herhold. You make them into
Okay,
knives.
that works.
So I'm assembling I'm producing an assembly line.
But you do have to pay us.
Oh yeah.
How are you going to convince the tech priest? To do
Also
that?
keep in mind you've never met him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've also never met him.
Well, I guess we can't.
I assume I've been paid since.
How long is the journey?
The journey from ship to planetfall, or
well, like while we were together.
pretty much as long as it takes for you guys to introduce yourselves.
Okay, so could I say it really takes a long time so that I can make the weapons?
I would say that you would not have brought your tools, the trade to make custom daggers with engravings on them on a planetfall trip.
Let's combi
actually-
tools do that.
Well, yes. I'm saying, would you be doing that in the cramped space of a
That's probably
space
true.
transport?
But I really want to make the fucking guys.
I'm not saying that you can. I'm just saying that you probably.
I think we should
If you
then-
had, you would have done them before, but unfortunately, you did not know who he was before.
Okay. Thank you, Al. You wrote that possibility out. Okay. So
Pay someone else.
we'll pay someone else later. Okay.
You can literally just pay him in like 30 minutes, just
Yeah,
not in,
dude, 30
not in
minutes.
space
Not in
with
space.
this much like elbow room, you know.
Okay. We'll do it later.
So I imagine from your two's perspective, you heard the story about this master manipulator, a person who is able to ascend the ranks of the Astra Militarum with but a costume and a
Oh wait, it's out that he's not actually a commissar?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Harkell always knew.
Okay.
Wait, they told everyone?
No, the only person that doesn't know that everyone knows that you're a commissar is you. But yeah, but you've heard the story about this master manipulator, this lowly guardsman who is able to rise to the ranks by just impersonating his superior officer, and then you've been met by this buffoon who came in with all of his teeth and is like, I need to make all these knives, guys, help me right now.
I need 80 knives. I need 80 knives by oh fuck, what would a sweatshop owner say? I need 80 knives by tomorrow or the shipment fails.
I was a Praetorian. I commanded armies. I will do my duty.
Is this the right person?
It's like one of the many inquisitorial staff walk past you, and like they look at like a giant scroll. Like, yep, that's him.
You
Commissar.
got the costume on.
You've got to be kidding me.
This is Inquisitor Harkell insists that this is a test of your piety and your willpower.
Welcome to Task Force Herhold.
Should we describe what our characters look like?
Yeah.
Sure. I don't think Jack knows.
No, I don't.
Okay, so you see a what looks like a Roman commander, but like dressed in more armor and shit than is probably necessary. He has a huge shield on his back, like a giant riot shield, which you can stick a gun through.
Nice.
He has like these arms, like mechanical arms, 4 mechanical arms folded up. One of them has like a like what looks like a blowtorch. One of them has a little plasma cutter, and then there's 2 like grabbers.
Okay.
And then I also have like a medical megadendrite, but it's coming out of like my this muscle bicep.
Yeah.
Tricep?
He clearly has like plating under his skin, but his skin is still like there, like in full view. He's a very tall black man, and he's coated in like this heavy armor, and he has like a gladius on one hip.
Okay. You said he was a Scutari, right?
No,
No,
actually,
he is
it's different.
Crimson Guard.
Okay.
So he grew up on a Forge
Venatorii.
World. Was essentially the guard equivalent for the Adeptus Mechanicus.
I see.
Rose to the ranks. Then what's the official role that you have? The war scribe something?
The what?
The thing you described to me about how he like observes war. What's that called?
I am a second. I have to fucking look it up.
Secutari?
Yeah, I think something like that. Essentially, I'm an observer of war. I study it and then I practice it.
Although technically he is your subordinate, he has seen more combat than you or your entire planetary defense force ever had.
Yeah.
And then as for Noah's
My
character,
character, this guy, he's got a limp, he's got a sort of like this weird metal cane. You know, it's because instead of a leg, he's just got a metal rod coming out of his thigh.
I'm greeting you, Gabe. I'm greeting you.
It's like, instead of a leg, he just has like this aluminum rod sticking out of his thigh that goes all the way to the ground. No knee, nothing fancy. It looks like they just stuck a piece of metal into his leg.
Fancy shit.
Yeah. It's like, but beyond that, if it weren't for that, he'd probably look fairly unassuming, mid-30s. It looks like he's balding somewhat.
yeah, like does he have like you described that he was covered in blood? What happened?
Oh, what happened? He was late to the meeting.
Alright, nice to meet you. I'll be the CEO and stuff.
Yes.
Everyone just assumed that you were in observance of Sanguinello, so I wouldn't ask.
Yes. It's Sanguinal. That is very convenient.
Is there anything I can
What
do
is this
to-
Sanguinala?
You would definitely know.
It is an Imperium White holiday.
Oh wait, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's like it's
I have
Christmas.
I have a thing that's part of the Forge World where I get like a -10 and I can never consider common law or Imperium of a base skill.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's part of being on a Forge World.
This isn't common lore.
But
Imperium.
yeah, I feel like this would be like super easy.
Yeah.
I forgot it was Sanguinal and that's
If
another
you
fucking
spend
random
if
holiday.
you spend an entire year outside of like your Forge World, you know what's going on.
Yeah. That was just me being into
So,
myself.
let's see. Sel, is there anything I can do in particular to accommodate you guys in our mission? Any specific roles that you guys fill in normal operations?
I'm a warrior. I deal with repairs as well.
Excellent.
I can talk to Mechanicum pretty well. My bet he pulls out like a badge that means probably nothing to you, but he this shows that I'm the shit to
Excellent.
Mechanicum people.
Okay. What exactly is that? Does that mean to the Mechanicum?
It means that I'm a Praetorian of the Crimson Guard.
Okay.
Would Herhold still believe that the Mechanicus is behind everything from the previous misadventure?
I don't know.
Did anyone? I thought we just ran along with that because.
We had one person in the party who felt very strongly on this point.
Yes.
He is gone.
But that person is gone.
Is he talked about? Is the warriors from that group Are they talked about beyond?
You mean, yeah. Well, it's not every day that a group of acolytes single-handedly fell a gene sealer cult. That's what I'm saying. The whole part, the double irony of this interaction is that you heard everything about this guy. It's like he stopped a chaotic and corruption insurrection. He stopped a gene sealer cult. All while infiltrating imperial high society without a hitch. And then you meet him, and he's just loaded with a bunch of teeth, insisting that he needs to make knives.
You're different on the battlefield, right?
I prefer to take more of a mid-level command role.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, personally, my expertise is mostly hive combat. I have been trying to study up on more commonplace engagement scenarios.
If you want, I can help.
Excellent. Well, sure. What you?
I mean, I could just give him an overview.
So as you begin to go into detail, kind of telling him about you don't know what recoil is.
Oh no, I know what recoil is. I haven't plugged a bolt pistol.
He's fired a bolt pistol 7 times.
I fired a bolt pistol. No, actually, I have a stub pistol too.
Haven't you missed every time you fired the bolt pistol?
No, I hit Gabe's arm.
That's true.
I disarmed. That
was the one time
you hit my hand.
I disarmed Carver, and then he quick shot another one.
Yeah. So as you,
this explosive round hits my arm. Oh, I dropped it. No, I'm a spear now.
So as you guys are discussing, you get a radio chatter. It's basically, as you fly towards, you see outside one of the windows that the sun in the center of this system is very small. It's blue, and it seems to be on its twilight years. You continue your conversation until eventually you get a Vox communication over the planet, over the intercom system. The pilot tells you to cut the chatter and that they are initiating the drop sequence. I do not have the clip ready, sorry.
It originally was going to be in a wheelchair, but Al said absolutely not.
Are you sure? Wheelchairs, they can make some pretty mobile wheelchairs.
Al said that there would be climbing apparently.
That's stupid. Climbing.
What? What the fuck are you talking about?
I expect to take escalators.
Yes, why are there no escalators in this hive?
Yes, there are no escalators. Do you mean this hive? You mean to tell me this hive has no functioning escalators?
We're going to a hive?
That is interesting. When they do Art of
That's
Hives,
a lot of
there's never any
assumptions.
ladders or stairs
I'm about to
or
explain that
escalators.
right now if you'd give me guys a moment. Alright, so as you continue your introductions, a voice rings out from the Vox system that they're initiating the drop sequence. You feel the ships enter the planet's atmosphere in a nosedive, and the cabin shakes violently, and your seats clamp down onto you. Just as you think the ship will shake itself apart, it's over. The ship breaks away and from its nosedive and flattens out. Blast protectors slide back to reveal windows overlooking Gatovia Minoris. We're not out of it yet, warns the pilot. We've arrived in the center of a blizzard. The moment that he says this, the cabin is bombarded by a heavy ice particle slamming into the side of the window, obscuring vision and making sharp impacts into the hull. We need to land. Do any of you see a human settlement? Calls out the pilot's voice, strained as he wrestles with the controls.
I would like to roll
I'd like to
awareness.
grab my magnoculars and start looking through one of the
I
ports.
would like to roll awareness.
Alright, go. Awareness is not...
What would it be?
92.
Oh no, but what would it be for the check?
I guess...
I have search and awareness.
I'll make a perception
I'd say
check.
search. Awareness is being snuck up
Perception
on.
isn't perception is a stat.
That's
so.
you rolled a 0.
No, the green die, the 4.
55.
I have a plus 10,
Alright.
and I have a 35 in perception. That's an 85. It doesn't fucking matter.
Alright.
I have a 68 in perception. and
We're
I
all
rolled a
blind.
92.
Yeah, you press up against so Noah, you rolled the 92, right?
Yeah.
Press up against the
You
glass.
press up against the
turbulence,
glass
make us all
and
smash our noses.
a massive icicle. It was just like a hailstorm, but it cracks through the glass and like comes like centimeters near your nose. So,
Oh, we're depressurized now. Oh, fuck.
Yes. So high pitch noise as air begins to escape the cabin.
I'd like to grab my shield and shove it up against the...
All right. So you push it up. That's a temporary solution to the window.
Wait, that
issue.
seems like that would have made it worse. It's the thing lodging the hole is now pushed out.
No, he's just trying to prevent any more mishaps. And the pilot recognizes this as like, I'm closing the blast doors. Give me a moment, and they start to slide over as you shield everyone. You're gonna need to keep on checking. The blizzard is ramping up in intensity as you feel like everyone can do a search check, not awareness, search check to find this supposed human.
No.
49.
What'd you roll?
37.
All right, so you scan the horizon. All you see is this like endless icy
You have an auger
wasteland.
array I could use.
You see like an inquisitorial agent he was like sprawled on the ground from the initial impact, and he's getting to his feet, scrambling. He's like, yes, I have one right here. He gives it to you.
I'm gonna use the scan so I can use my tech use instead.
Yep. So you touch it, and as you do, pieces of metal in your arm already begin to interface it before you even touch any buttons. Use your tech use.
Are you?
What was the roll?
I got an 88, an 87, and then an 86.
Bruh, let me do a tech use check. I could fucking do that.
That's actually 47.
No, that's the third.
Can I roll Common Lore Imperium?
You may roll common lore.
How cold is it?
Yes.
It's pretty hot.
Holy fuck!
Okay,
shit, you have
for
frostbite.
the record, I've seen they've rolled like how many? Like 10 dice, and not a single one of them have been below 40.
No, not a single one has been. All but 2 have not been below
Fuck this,
70.
I'm using diceroller.exe.
All right, so you feel it's like the pilot is warning everyone. It's like cabin pressure destabilizing. I'm taking it in low, and you're losing altitude. We need to find shelter. Where is shelter?
Awareness?
I'm gonna use the auger. I think it gives you a plus 20 bonus to precision, but I think that's only against things within 20 feet.
Yeah.
20 meters.
It's
so I guess I gotta use the scan check.
use scan.
Awareness?
That's a fucking 92.
Can I roll
Yeah,
awareness?
in your frustration of using the auger array.
Bro! Do we just fucking die now? Do we just die?
I have heating systems. I'll live.
Oh, actually no.
I have resistance cold.
As you're scrambling around,
I have a
getting up the
minus 10 when
seats,
we're outside.
9!
I have a
the
cigarette lighter.
the window busts open. So if you weren't standing there with your shield up against the wall, that's probably why you didn't do too well in the tech use check, because you were like one hand trying to operate, the other hand trying to keep everyone being sucked out
Thank
the
you for
window.
making sure we're
It's
not
just
retarded.
it's just like if you didn't say that, everyone would have been blown out of the ship, and now you're in a spiral. You hear there's like red lights flashing everywhere, and the pilot is asking what's going on. What's going on? Give me a sip.
Why'd they hire a guy who just got out of flight pilot school?
He's shouting over the system as like, well, if you'd have some direction for me to go to, then maybe we wouldn't be in this
I didn't
situation.
say that out
Why
loud.
do you not have a navigator?
I'm gonna try and find something.
All right.
Who is the navigator
Plus
on this
22.
vessel?
That fucking passes.
All right.
What did
So
you roll?
you see,
I got a 51 and I needed a 63.
Okay, no, seriously. I'm gonna do an inquiry check with these. I got a plus 10 since they're military. Let's see. Inquiry is. Oh shit.
you begin to argue with the
Fellowship.
pilot over the Vox system while you're
No,
like
that's a
hanging
pass.
on.
That is a pass.
You're hanging onto the side of your chair as you're
I
like
have my
flying
bolt
up.
pistol out. Where is the navigator?
There is a door between you. He's communicating with the Vox system. Are you pointing it at the Vox?
No, I just haven't.
Yes,
ready.
he is.
I haven't pointed at the fucking door.
As the agent on the ground
Finger off the trigger, by the way.
As-
Safety first.
Okay, safety first. As you have one hand wrapped around a seat, so you don't get sucked out of the window. Other hand pointing the gun at the door, screaming, "Where's our navigator?"
We're all multitasking.
Yes.
One hand for the ship. one
You
hand
get
for
you
yourself.
get a massive signal on your auger array. Giant heat signature right next to you. It's nothing like you've ever seen before. Like they're not used for this level, but this thing is just, you can imagine your whole screen is just white.
There's a huge heat signal right next to us. I'll point the direction now.
Yeah, so you point to the opposite window, which hasn't been destroyed. Noah's character scrambles up, he's looking for it, and he sees mountains.
I rolled a 99, I don't see fucking shit.
No, that was for your previous thing.
Plus I gave you a direction.
I wasn't paying attention.
I'm looking in the wrong direction.
You're looking at the wall.
You scan.
Where is the window?
You scan the surface of Gatovia, but it is an icy wasteland devoid of human life. The only notable feature for thousands of miles are 3 mountain peaks in the distance. It seems that all is lost, that your ship will be torn to shreds in the storm, until the mountain notices you all. You hear a deafening roar that resembles a mix of a whale cry and a freighter horn as the mountains begin their march. The crew looks on in wonder as the ship alters its trajectory towards the noise. As you draw closer to the mountains, you realize that they are in fact massive alien fauna, larger in scale than even the most ancient of Imperial Titans.
Bruh.
Their body structures resemble flat backs supported by 4 impossibly long legs.
That's fucking awesome.
What you originally thought as mountains were in actuality layers upon layers of snow built on their back due to constant exposure. Their heads are flat, much like their bodies, but resemble a boomerang from a bird's eye view. They sport dozens of bioluminescent eyes that follow you as you draw closer towards them. I think we found our human settlement, points out the pilot as the ship drops below the
I'm sorry, what?
revealing a sprawling metropolis built on the underside of each Leviathan. Gothic cities constructed upside down are connected to the bellies of these beasts by mechanical harnesses that clamp down deep into the creatures' bodies. Flares shoot out from the head of one of the largest titans. It has been covered by a man-made helmet the size of an imperial chapel, with an array of defense cannons scanning the horizon. You hear the pilot regain his composure and explain the flare as a standard Imperial signal for landing sites. The ship approaches the head of the creature as you see a docking port open up from the helmet. The ship enters the port and lands. As the exit hatch opens, you are greeted by a sight to behold. An entire Imperial military base has been built within the helmet of this creature. Guardsmen march in formations, and servitors haul heavy equipment to service dozens of aircraft, all in the process of being defrosted by massive heat fans strewn across the facility.
Yes, that's my thought. We landed inside the hangar.
As you exit, you are despite everything, you are able to make a relatively smooth landing because it seems as if the storm itself kind of wraps around these creatures, and it gets and you're able to stabilize partially. The exit hatch opens, and you are greeted. As you are exited, As you exit, you are greeted by 2 Imperial officers and a welcoming host of guardsmen. These aren't your ordinary planetary defense force. They are unmistakably the Ice Warriors of Valhalla, their heavy cloaks and iconic hats blowing in the sub-zero wind.
That's where Misha was from.
One of the officers step forwards to greet you. He is a plump and cheery man with a red nose and introduces himself. He is Master of Ordnance Major Boris Yanovich. And beside him, second officer is the most, who is more decorated. He looms over all of you. He's like 6.5 feet tall. His face.
An Albanian mustache like Dalen.
No, actually, he has his face is, although he has standard Valhalla uniform decorated with medals. He has a mask which obscures his face. It's like a metal opera mask which has like a twisted, crying face with a single tear. So although he kind of like stays in the back and doesn't talk too much, Boris greets you all, and he's asking if you are are you who do you hail from in a storm like this? Are you don't match any of their insignias? You're not from here, are you?
Okay, I just wanted like, okay, so
What would be
how
standard
much
operating procedures?
like have we been provided any intel as to who we're supposed to be?
No, you are to meet with the Planetary Governor. And the other thing too is that this message was, because of the nature of warp travel and astropathic messages, this was received 180 years ago. So you don't know the current situation of it.
I mean, a few centuries ago, we heard that there was an issue, and we were, shit, just come out.
We have a meeting with the Planetary Governor.
Yeah.
We want to
You know how that astropathic stuff goes. I don't know if it's been canceled or not, but I assume that I'd like to meet with. I assume he'd like
we have
to
a
meet
meeting with
us.
the Planetary Governor.
Ah, yes, I see. The major character, he's quite welcoming for an officer of the Imperial Guard, but he understands what you mean immediately. It's like, in fact, we saw your descent from atmosphere, and it was hypothesized that was the reason why you were here. Come, and he like gestures over nonchalantly as he starts to walk down the pathway. You see that the guardsmen who are all running around in formation, they all have red sashes tied around their arms, and some of them have even like taken them off and are wearing them on other parts of their body, wrapped around their legs and stuff.
Do I have an understanding of if is that a military thing?
You may try to roll. This would be
Actually, it could. Oh, Imperial
not
because
common
it was a
lore.
military thing.
Could I use common lore military?
You may try.
Okay. Oh fuck, that's an 85. I can't roll
Can
for
I do
shit.
Common Lore Imperium?
Yes, you may.
Nope.
Does that not even deal with all your bonuses?
I only have basic in all of them. I don't get bonuses to a bunch of these Common Lore things until later.
So you're just gonna go on without worrying about
Can
it?
I roll Forbidden Lore Cults?
I guess if you're that introspective, if you're that inquisitive, sure.
My
That's
character,
our job.
it is our job, and also
I'm not playing.
my character is a paranoid motherfucker.
Paranoid motherfucker.
Top guy.
Ooh, that is.
I succeed
alright.
with 3 degrees of success.
All right. So you look into it. You're scanning through all of your encyclopedic knowledge on like cults and anything of malintent. But the only thing that you could ever think of with these sashes is that they are it's an imperial cult. So unfortunate, yes, but sanctioned by the Inquisition because it is too much hassle to unroot.
What type of cult?
An imperial cult, so something that would work.
It's just a different version of Worship of the God Emperor.
Got it.
Yep.
And this is probably. Is this Sanguinala? Is that why it's red?
Yes, that's what you'd guess.
It's like sort of like how Misha interpreted the Emperor as the divine bullet.
So as you run by, you see there's like a few pilots that are like getting into ships, and then they'll like. There's like a whole service announcement that they're opening up the hatch again. You hear the wind blow in as they send out a few extra ships. So Boris is kind of going off and explaining that if you intercepted that message 180 years ago, that is when a ecological disaster struck this planet. You see, every planet in this system is suffering from a lack of exposure from the sun.
130.
Our sun is dying, and it wasn't until a war in a far off sector. And if you think about it, it was Gathering Storm, the Cicatrix Maledictum. What unnaturally accelerated the process of their sun dying, and because of that, this is the only planet in the system that still sustains life in spite of everything. But yeah, do you have any other questions for him while you're walking along? You're just trying to interact and see what people are doing.
Yeah.
All right, so you're just continuing to watch, and you can see as there are some civilians here as well. Oh.
I will say, I'll ask him. You have quite a large guard force here. Have you had any problems militarily with uprisings and the like? I assume so, because that's what normally happens in a situation of
what's your
dying planets.
What's your typical threat profile? Are they like cults or like Xenos or are they just here for Are they just here for labor purposes?
He kind of like scowls at the question, but eventually he answers is like, we in our current situation, all planets of this population scale are to be guarded by a PDF force. Unfortunately, the original PDF force was destroyed, and the Valhallans were set in to replace them because they are used to working in this environment. As for what they fought, aside from dangerous fauna, which, as we know, from our knowledge, anyways, there are no creatures as large as the Mammalian striders on this planet.
Okay.
They are the last of their species.
Okay, is this planet strategically important in any way?
It is a research planet. That's not what he says. That's just all you know about it.
About can I roll common lore Imperium for anything more than that?
What do you people research here beyond the
I rolled
large
a
fauna?
10.
So you want to know about?
I want to know
What do they
why.
do?
What would make this world important enough that they would actually put the guard here instead of just oh, your PDF got destroyed, too bad.
So research planets range in strategic value to the Imperium. It's too broad of a classification to say this is definitively like extremely important. But from your knowledge, generally speaking, research outposts do not get entire guard regiments to defend them. So there is, and from his conversation, what he said, there's also a large civilian population, which is also unusual for research outposts. From your experience, that would imply that it was not originally a research outpost and was then changed later.
Because of the storm, or
Potentially, you only know the solution. You only know the final conclusion. You don't know any of the details at this point.
Yeah.
What was it that you were going to ask?
I was asking him, what do you guys research here?
Oh, that's not really what for the guard to decide. We just maintain the peace.
That's not meant like insultingly.
He laughs and is like, "Oh, think nothing of it."
Okay.
I mean, you know,
You can roll fellowship to see if he's telling the truth.
I mean, fucking sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's telling the truth.
I'm gonna
5
actually,
degrees
I'm
of
gonna,
failure.
your fellowship is that low?
26.
Oof.
I'm gonna do an inquiry check on this dude. Again.
Can I also do it for you?
Yeah,
But I got a plus 10.
I have plus 20. I succeed. I succeed on the
I
inquiry check.
succeed.
So what are the questions that you were asking?
So
him?
I am gonna ask.
Okay, is he saying any? Is he not saying anything? Is he deliberately not saying anything?
The other guy, who I forgot to tell you his whole title, acting commander. His name is.
Face mask.
What? What did you say?
Mask guy.
Mask guy.
Yeah.
His name is the acting. His title is the acting commander of the Valhallan 187th Vitali Gagarin. Although when the major initially introduced him as that, the only time Gagarin spoke is when he corrected him and said, "I'm just a lieutenant." But he hasn't said anything else.
My eyes are just like scanning him for like weaknesses,
I
like
guess
in
the
his
question is,
stance.
have I detected any lies of omission?
Lies of omission. It's fair to say you're a pretty good people person with your background. Although the presentation of the major has been kind of like phony, kind of fake, and how like friendly he is.
Oh, he reminds me of Herhold.
He doesn't.
I don't.
The
get off
only
enough.
thing that can make you suspect him is the fact that like, why would someone be so friendly? You don't have any grounds of like he's lying to me because you have such a small view of this world to this point. As you're scanning him, there is a communication in the box. It's like, everyone brace. We are having a step. And then everyone holds on to something, and the major implores you to go by all of these like hazard, basically poles that are not poles, but like bars, rails, yeah, across the walls. You secure yourselves, and then as a leg finishes a step.
4 of these wires shoot out of my backpack and stick into the ground and hold me there.
You see some of the guard like go like ooh when you do that.
And I look at him and like nod and grin a little bit. Like,
can I have my metal leg just like I shift a little bit and it clamps onto the ground though?
Ah, nice. You also have to be very careful when you're walking because you're walking like a bunch of
Yes.
Okay, so I would like to ask my question.
Yes.
For real though, what is the special? What is being researched at this station?
I believe I already informed your group. It is above my pay grade. But I am taking you to the Planetary Governor, and he is a expert in this field.
Excellent. Also, do you have any idea where he is in liquor?
He scans you. He's like, I am familiar with the commissariat and their obsession with alcohol. Come. At the council arranged for you.
I'm acting on Valhallan stereotype.
Come. And when the council arranged for you, we have a commissar of our very own, and I'm sure he'll be able to direct you to everywhere you need to know.
Does no one else find it fishy that he didn't even? He asked who we were. We say we need to see the Planetary Governor, and he just drops the who we are bits.
And then you
they must have
That's
the
suspicious.
Inquisition.
You see as the metal building, all the construction kind of gives way to like muscle, tendon, and spine as you built into the back of this creature.
Can we say we got comm beads before we?
That's right.
Yeah.
Although to say that you have like a telepathic communication where you can
you can't just say it like while you're.
I think these guys are suspicious.
Yeah, exactly.
No, so basically you see there's like a panic room, not really a panic room, but like a heavily fortified room built at the base of the spine, and then like a maglev chamber that goes up the spine towards it. Boris brings you up, and the acting commander steps on the platform with you. The guardsmen around you step to enter, but then he like waves them down, and then they like salute. They do the little imperial insignia salute, and then they go back to their duty as the maglev slowly lifts up, and it's like. I must apologize for the informal greeting, but the Planetary Governor has predicted this arrival for a very long time, and he insisted, especially considering the current circumstances, he would like to talk to you as soon as possible. And before you can really process that
How many other visitors have you gotten since you sent that message?
Visitors? He asks that question, and then the door opens. You see this lavishly decorated room. It's adorned with metals and statues and whatnot. It's very, very high society, and a obsidian thin, this like impossibly thin table stretches out the entirety of the room. At the very end, you have this large, chair, like swivel chair that's stationed its back towards you. As you see, there is
get wider as it goes up.
You see that there's like a whole variety of characters. You see tech priests. You see this strange and possibly tall robed figure. What?
Nothing.
But yeah, so you see a bunch of people. The major introduces like, my governor, the people that you've sent for have finally arrived. And then there's like a gesture, and it's like, well, come, please sit down. And as you all sit down, the two officers come to sit down with you, and then the hand comes up again. It's like, oh no, just the commander. And then Boris kind of like, yes, my governor, and goes down the chamber without you guys. So you sit there. You're at this long table. On the opposite end of you, you see you have the chair that I described earlier. You have a trying to get everything up here. You have this. You have a procession of tech priests. They're all kind of like squabbling and talking amongst each other in a language you do not understand. But they have this like levitating platform, and on top of it, Oh yeah, you do. If you listen, unless you want to like specifically listen to them.
Sure, I'll like vaguely
Yeah.
listen in.
But you see that they brought with them this like levitating platform with like a pickled brain inside of a green jar that's just kind of floating there. Then on the opposite. What?
Nothing.
Crying.
On the opposite end, you have. On the opposite end,
It's the Turkish Star Wars brain.
on the opposite end, you have this. What only can be described as like serpentine form. This giant, like 10-foot tall human, whose body is mostly obscured by these long, billowing purple robes. It obscures all of his shape, save for a single white mask, which is featureless, but save for the insignia of the Inquisition on it.
Is this bitch a snake?
Did you say that?
No, obviously not.
Hey, scalies are a thing.
Then
A sanctioned app human.
that's
I mean,
no.
Okay, Whitwell.
It's you see
It's time to get
you see
Slaanesh is excited.
When is one actually not excited?
you see also sitting at this table is a commissar. A commissar. He's got a beard. He looks significantly older than Jack's character. And then beside him is the acting commander of the Valhallans, who takes a seat and sits down. The Planetary Governor swivels around to reveal a Planetary Governor, not this grand like
Snake man.
No grand snake man.
Monster
Just
looking at.
it's actually this kind of like small, stubby-looking guy who's wearing this very impressive-looking cloak that's like a size too big.
I found stubby-looking guy, and that's what I.
That is what he looks like now.
I was at iron clothing.
Yeah, he's just kind of like not very impressive-looking guy, despite all of his like adornments and whatever. And he has this giant monocle which has been secured to his skull.
I have one of those.
But yes, so he welcomes you to take a seat, and then once the doors are secured beside you, behind you, he introduces himself as.
I will stand at attention behind Herhold's seat.
So you won't take a seat. You will not.
Well, if he insists, I will.
Yes. You would like it if you would take a seat.
I'll take a seat.
Yes.
Actually,
so
no, I will say you can take a seat.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. When he says that, I'll take a seat.
Actually, no, I think I'll say so. I think you should take a seat.
So. Welcome to Gatovia, Minoris, members of the Inquisition. My name is Min Aka. I am the Planetary Governor of this research outpost, and I thank you. The Emperor thanks you for your such hasty response to our sends for aid. I must ask, with your descent being quite rocky, are you in good health?
I sort of look at my leg, look back up.
He kind of like is a little squeamish. He hasn't seen too many like battlefield amputations.
Yes, we are.
That is wonderful news. I was wondering if you were to be accompanied by an Inquisitor.
No, the Inquisitor is is an awfully cautious fellow. He sent us to
He's observing Sanguinala.
Yes, it's and he's like, oh, but I think I understand the imperial holiday, yes, Sanguinolo.
It's close.
Because you see, when imperial planets are closed off from one another for long periods of time, culture deviates. But yes, it is truly a sign from the Emperor that on such a blessed holiday you'd come down and join us. But I must say that your timing could not be more perfect, because although my original message I had sent out by my astropath, our Archon Telesto, he gestures to the snake-like figure, who kind of like looks over at you guys and then goes back to staring at him. I had him sent out this message as we here on our planet were struck with ecological disaster some 180 years ago. I was there when it happened, but the people of this planet took to the Mamunthan Striders, and we have survived that initial disaster. Honestly, the nature of astropathic messages, we couldn't really retract the request for Imperial aid after it had been sent out. But in recent times, we've actually been blessed. We've been blessed by the presence of something far more important that I'm thankful that you'd show up at this time. He presses a button on the end of his table, and in the center erects a hologram, which like this kind of like low-tech holographic display, which like shows like a scanning area around this strider. We are currently on War Machine, designated Strider Atlas. It was the first of the Mamunthian Striders to be domesticated by mankind, but in our time, in these trying times, in our current situation, we have been limited to but 3 Striders in total.
How many are on the planet?
3, in our knowledge. Unfortunately, the design created by the most brilliant mind on this planet, HC-88 Tech Priest Magai Gatovia, he gestures to the brain in the jar, was able to design a ecological harness which allows us to flee, allowed us humans to flee from our icy prisons to this wonderful cities in the sky. But this is an imperfect system, unfortunately, as overpopulation and increased construction requirements have weighed heavily on the spinal structure of these Striders, and we've had multiple instances of entire cities collapsing out of exhaustion, killing hundreds of thousands in the process.
Nothing too unusual.
As a planetary governor, it deeply saddens me that my people live in such conditions. He says this, and he picks a little shrimp out of this like bowl next to him and like eats it.
Actually, have I seen any of the city? Because like, is this place better or worse than a hive?
Those spires are very reminiscent of high spires.
But are they better?
You can't tell from that.
I think they might be better.
But
it's like, gee, this place sure is luxury.
As a planetary governor, it pains me to see my citizens go through this, but there is but future for our people. If we are to continue on this planet in our Emperor-given task of conducting our research, we must ensure that the population can survive the coming years. It is impossible to leave this planet. It is of strategic importance that we cannot give up now. So, in these times, we have sought alternatives to continue growing our population in a sustainable efforts without hurting the Striders too much. This has led to our most recent discovery. Designation Strider mother, Thea, was pregnant and recently has given birth to a new Strider, a 4th Strider named Eos. Eos is but 20 years old and is about to reach adolescence. And as he says this, he zooms in with like a device, and there's a 4th tiny Strider. This thing is much smaller than its parents. It's barely the size of an Imperator class Titan. And it walks underneath the legs of one of them.
Barely the size.
But he explains, like, in its current state, Eos is not able to support human life. The ecological harnesses would kill it at this age. But it is important that we see its maturation. And in a week's time, we shall announce that plans to migrate a population over to Eos shall commence now, as threatened on many political levels, that overpopulation in the current 3 Striders is reaching a critical mass. And before we see mass political outcry, it is important that we go through with this announcement. However, in recent times, with this mounting pressure, I have seen my role threatened. Like I said before, I thank the Emperor that you arrive at the time that you do, because we need members of the Inquisition to establish order in these desperate times. If humanity is to survive on this planet, we must go out into these striders and locate these areas of descent and educate them on how the greater good of humanity hangs in the balance. It is extremely important that we get through these times and that you help me find whoever is propagating these lies about an alternative life to the Striders. It is simply impossible.
And what makes this problem more suited for the Inquisition than the Arbites or the Guard?
It is an important question, as my standing with the people is not the best at this time. My popularity polls are very low, and people are not quite happy with my rule.
Under a 1/10% instead of it's above a 1/5%.
I'm just imagining a bunch of guards or Arbites going into the hive saying, "What is your opinion on the Planetary Governor? What's your opinion on sign this
I've
clipboard?"
gone from 13
I've gone from
supporters in every 1 million to 12.
this is unacceptable.
This is very bad.
Unfortunately, with the original destruction of the infrastructure of this planet,
Patriots per million.
no Arbite, the body of the Adeptus Arbite did not survive. And
Also, this is the job for a steady hand, not a brute force.
exactly. I'm very glad that you understand the situation.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, this is why I'm here.
Why is your astropath a snake?
He kind of stops for a second.
Yes, is he a scaly?
'Cause
that's what they're called.
Telesto is a unique strain of abhuman. We have very few psychos on this planet, and his power is beyond measure relative to the signatures of most psychos here. Although we suffer issues of people not understanding the plight of the abhuman, specifically on Thea,
So many of the other psychers
Quite
are
an amusing abhuman.
many of the other psychers get messages asking for mice. It's quite strange.
Telesto is a good friend of mine,
Derith's expert.
and he is the most powerful psyker loyal to myself. It is important that we keep the role of the astropaths as we lose our connection with the rest of the Imperium. If he were not here, then we would not be here today. He was the one that sent out the original message.
My second question is the research that you do here. We are not sure what it is.
Yes.
We didn't receive that information.
The reason why you do not receive that information is because that information is very, very important. We are doing highly classified expeditions into the planetary surface. You see, this planet was once an ocean world, and now that it is frozen over, an entire civilization has been buried underneath the ice. We were researching xenotechnology buried underneath the planet.
Archaeotech.
Yes, we are. It is important that
What origin? Xeno or Dark Age?
that is the purpose of our research. We are not quite clear. All that we know is that it possesses vast importance to the Imperium of Mankind. Whatever was here is theorized to be extremely powerful and of unknown origin. And unfortunately, a majority of the population cannot be aware of this. They are here to service the Striders, as the Striders are the only means of effectively traversing the planet as we scour every inch, every square surface meter for any clues as to what this technology's purpose was and its potential for use of bettering
How
mankind.
did the Valhallans get here?
The Valhallans.
They were called.
They were called
On which
in.
vessel?
Oh, you mean like a vessel?
What ships brought them here and when?
The Valhallans arrived approximately 50 to 80 years after the original ecological disaster. They came in their own ships and were unfortunately only a fragment of a entire regiment, but it was the best that we could have gotten. You can see as he says this that that Gagarin is kind of like, he does this and like starts looking at him.
I have an idea. So you say that these were Valhallan ships with less guards than they intentionally were supposed to hold.
They are long gone now.
Those ships are now gone.
They dropped them off and left.
What is I was going to suggest that we find these dissenters, feed them rumors that's of a very specific location that they could go to, load them onto the ships, open the airlocks at an orbit, and never have to deal with them again.
I fail to see this. I was under the impression that the Inquisition was a scalpel to be deployed in such with precision and to weed out only the most important of corruption.
Yes, we very carefully remove the most
to weed out the corruption.
Yes. He kind of like shifts around in his chair when he
executing that plan would have taken a lot.
And we are going to have to examine this abhuman.
Yes, I will have you know that under Imperial law, he is a sanctioned psyker. He has been done. He is every test that could ever be possibly carried out has already been carried out on the Administratum by him.
Understood. Also, I would like some time to speak with the brain in the jar, Megos, and then I'll say his full name.
Yes, you may. His name is Adept.
Do scales have hair? No. Does a snake have hair?
So there's like a little speaker attached to the brain, and after a bit of floating, it speaks out. And although I may not be able to do it very well on the spot, basically
I don't know.
He talks like a where every time he speaks,
no, we don't know.
gives like
the thing is, I don't have of any
some sort of action and then explains what he's doing. So it will say
scaling.
Question. Yeah. Yes. Inquiry. What is your question?
He says, I more meant later. I don't need to talk to him right now.
I see.
I just wanted to get where he's at, or like his
schedule updated.
Yes.
Confirmed.
And I'd like that for everyone in here, if possible.
There is always a time later.
So
but
those are
now
scales.
it is important that everyone is present, so that we can so you can discuss in detail where you plan on looking. We have the information on our major clusters.
If we're going
off
off of this
population,
precedent that
and
those
we
are
want
in
you
fact scales
to determine
as well.
where the inquiry should start. So he will do finicky on his consoles or bring up 3 striders. So you have Atlas, which is the one that you are currently on. It was the original alpha of the
scale class.
You have the one, the female Thea, and then
They said no, it'll never
its
be
mate
scale.
Hyperion, and the child Eos. So although Eos is current, although you can go there are very few people on Eos right now.
35 gelt wasn't
Let's say,
a waste of money.
They
wasn't a
is the one with the most dissenters, right?
It totally wasn't just a modified toenail remover.
The population of the dissenters is hard to quantify. It is your job to determine that kind of thing. Thea is home to the largest population of abhumans.
There's only 5 from
While this is not a problem per se, as this abhuman strain is sanctioned, they are a substrain of the Ogren species. Although they are officially recognized, is Gabe just leaving?
Goodbye, Gabe.
Yeah, Herhold is letting the Herhold out. Just pulls the bolter out.
Fucking island full of retards.
I knew there was an issue. You couldn't have just
The population
Don't
is
say that about
child
Misha's
policy.
extended family.
The population is approximately. They make
I mean, if the Imperium couldn't institute a
5 to 7% of the population of that particular cluster.
I knew
But
that.
still, it is one of the areas of most unrest and has the highest crime rate. As I will go, if you do not mind, I will give you basic overviews of the makeups of these platforms. So, as for War Machine, which is the other name for Atlas. It is as I said before, the original Alpha of the Pack, and has been undergone the most modification of the Cult Mechanicus. At this point, its body is about 30% machine. One of its entire legs have been replaced by mechanics due to it being the oldest and suffering the most damage during its service. It is the manufacturing heart of the colony and has an entire factory system built within its core. This Strider is overseen by Gatovia and his priesthood. As for Hyperion was the other male in the pack, and is identified by its smaller stature and its broken tusk that it had when it originally fought Atlas for its position in the pack. It is home to a organization known as the Fulminators, which are a anti-fauna control unit. They are separate from the government and are an independent organization. And on the subject of independent organizations, there is a imperial cult brooding within Atlas that I forgot to mention. He's kind of like brushing over this as soon as possible. And as for Thea, as I explained before, it has the largest mutant population.
I make a motion like a band around an arm.
Yes, the ends. Although that is a particular way of celebrating Sanguinolo on this planet. It was a idea popularized by the Faithful Sons, which is the name of this cult. They worship the Striders as a aspect of the Emperor himself.
And I will for good lore cults. Yes.
So you've never heard about these people before, but you have. I'll basically give you extra insight into your theories on how they work. So you'd imagine it'd be like something that would if any other context probably snuffed out for being dangerous is continued because they're pro-Strider. So you've seen this before, where a potentially dangerous cult is ignored by a planetary governor because their position aids them in the current time frame before it eventually turns on them.
So this planetary governor is in support of subversive cults.
As long as they benefit him, that's what you're able to surmise.
He's also in support of giant snake men.
This is also true. He seems very heretical.
But unless you want to do any checks on that stuff, Psychers. When you don't get to be picky with Psychers if you have this really small population and only
Oh no, for sure.
Yes, but he is a mutant.
Yes, but as an astropath, he is given immunity to any inquisitorial purging.
I don't think it's heretical.
All right.
I'm just I understand
actually,
why.
I think-
He's definitely the type of person who'd be like.
I think it would be
That's
fun
okay.
if
Those are
I
cool.
thought of him as less heretical and more an exotic curiosity that this man is happy to have. The same way Ramses II got super excited when a pygmy dwarf was presented to him from India.
What?
All right, short black people.
A very short person. Around West Africa, there's this little region where there's a lot of really short people, and so Ramses II sent a trade group down, and then they sent a letter up. We found a pygmy, and the Ramses was like, "Give me!" And they're like, "Yeah, that's
So,
yeah."
interrogator.
Yes.
Yes.
He is not an interrogator. He's merely a.
Oh, he's just another acolyte?
He's merely
He's
a
commander.
trusted acolyte. If he is to succeed on this mission, he will be promoted to interrogator.
Team leader.
But this is a technical
squad leader.
Squad SL. Yes.
So you're presented with these three.
I have a question. Was I the only one listening?
No.
Okay, good.
I think for half of it, yes. Okay, so there is
As you guys-
unknown technology. There are
Unknown technology,
cults.
Striders, cults. I think this guy is sus.
There
There's
are
also the anti-fauna
The anti-fauna group and
that
the
is
brain
on
jar.
Hyperion, and then there's the Ogren abhuman
retard
population
Oh yeah, I know.
that has the most crime, but not necessarily the most dissenters.
Which is very odd for Ogrins because they're normally docile people.
Yeah, this is very confusing.
They are the thing about their strain, their substrain, is that they resemble Ogrins in but physical appearance alone.
They're like criminals and shit, right? Aren't they like angry, raging idiots?
No, it's like they're kind of like
they're easy to control. That's why they're part of the.
they're really, really easy to control, and they're kind of characterized as being a lot like dogs, actually.
I'll be right back. You guys.
Yeah, but I guess
you
these
guys
are
discuss where
Ogrins
you want to
that
go.
are like cats, I guess.
Yeah, it's like they're kind of like they're very loyal, and they tend to be too stupid to actually be able to be traitors.
These are smart Ogrins that are smart enough to actually commit
These are
crimes.
Ogrins that are smart enough to realize that crime is an option.
So there's a fauna group.
Yeah, that seems a little interesting. And these are separate from the research efforts.
Yeah. I think I'd like to go there.
Yeah. I think initially I was thinking that our finding out what the research would be our top priority. However, I think that maybe that would be our lowest priority because it's the least likely to go and blow up instantly. Or
The research?
the research of the underground stuff. That seems like it's going to be. That just seems
that's
like a
gonna be
very
relevant.
slow.
It seems like it's going to be slow, but it also sounds like if we go and research it, we might die of frostbite.
Yes, that's something that we should put at the bottom of the pile and do
Yes.
other things to prepare for.
So I think Hyperion we should go to first. I want to find out more. If there's a separate group, they might be the ones causing this descent.
Let's see. So, we need to find the methods of acquire access to the methods of communication on this planet. Things like media, general communications. Places where people talk to see if we can figure out what people are saying, why people are saying it.
So what you're saying is we should go to a bar and listen for rumors.
No, I say we should go to we should try to find a newspaper and talk to reporters.
We just need to find some gangers and give me 15 minutes in a locked room.
How would that be helpful?
I am really good at torture.
No, but that doesn't mean anything, though. We wouldn't. How would that help us if we just found some random ass gangers? What are they gonna? They're not dissenters.
Yeah, no,
we just give,
They're not
we just-
dissenters. They're just criminals.
We just go further and further down the underworld tree.
Actually, no, that's a good idea. Find some people who are about to be executed. Extract as much information about them as we can in a very violent and potentially lethal manner about the political situation of the planet and the people's interactions with them.
Yep.
Yeah, who cares if they die? I mean, they're
Yeah,
they're
they're
going
criminals.
to die anyway.
So your people are currently fixating on Hyperion. Well, you're not on Thea. Sorry,
Yeah.
Thea is the one with the
Yeah.
rings.
I wanted to go to Hyperion, but they want to go
Where are
We want to find some of the political dissenters.
There are criminals in every. If you sure to remind you, there are criminals in every cluster.
Dissenters
It's
in every-
just
I know.
And in actuality, the dissenting, in terms of just rough estimates, the members of both Thea and Atlas are neutral, whereas Hyperion is actually slightly dissenting.
Well, it's like here's
That
it.
is
I
what I
would
was
rather
saying.
not push our luck
There's
with
a-
smart Ogrins.
There's a separate group
There
right
are
now.
3 major groups, each of which assigned to an individual strider. There are the Faithful Sons cult, which you've already talked about is potentially dangerous, but you don't know anything else about them.
They support the Striders.
They support the
So
Striders.
you
You
have-
have,
you
you
have
have
the-
you have the criminals who are
We have the Pro-Strider
who
League,
are
the Anti-Strider
essentially
League, and the Auburns.
essentially assumed to be neutral because they're just criminals. You can't really read too far into their actions. And then you have the Fulminators who are currently unknown, although they.
Which is, I think we should go to the Fulminators first.
Actually,
I think
those
that
criminals.
I feel like okay, so
It has the most dissenters, and it has the separate group that isn't just raging retards.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
that is true.
They're the
What-
people who are going to
what-
be scheming,
what are we on
not
right
the
now
raging
again?
retards.
Which
Strider are
which
we
Strider
on?
are we
We're on Atlas.
You're on Atlas.
Here's it. I have to. Okay, are we gonna have to do shit? Are we gonna have to do not get blown out of the sky by a blizzard checks every time we go in between Striders?
No, there's a
There's people who are actually built to fly in this fucking weather.
Okay.
Well, the other thing too is that Atlas has an inbuilt void shield generator, and it is enough to. That's the reason why, as soon as you flew close to them, you're inside of the thing. And it's essentially they took the Adept can explain this, but essentially they took the original like Hive Spire ones because every Hive Spire is built
has a
with
void
one,
shield.
and they put it secured it to its chassis.
Can I test is the gravity like normal here?
So it is on this planet is actually slightly lighter, but only if you like test it. Not that like it has a significant bearing on how you carry
Yee,
yourself.
I can throw a grenade 4 feet long.
Like 2 feet longer. But yeah. So has the party come to a consensus on where you want to conduct your?
Hyperion.
All right.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you tell them your decision, and the Planetary Governor is like, yes, I'm glad that you get started right away. Feel free to come to us at any time, and we will be able to contact you without creating so much of a ruckus. All of my friends here have official positions in a corresponding Strider, which you'll be able to find on a map I will provide to you soon. You can contact them at any time, and they can give you individual insights from their backgrounds. You have the Commissar, you have the Astropath, and you have the Tech Priest.
The Tech Priest is the brain in the jar, right?
Yes.
Brain.
I will. I mean, if you want to know his backstory, you can ask him later. But
Actually, I'm gonna walk up to the commissar and politely ask him, "Can I get some bulk gun rounds on this planet?" Just
during the meeting.
No, like afterwards.
Yeah, you can
or
do that.
just casually.
We'll put a pin in that for a second.
Okay.
But he's like, well, I hope the Emperor will be with you on this mission. It is and must I remind you the gravity of the situation. This research planet must not fall, lest this sect of the Imperium be lost to,
The annals of time.
yes, if not something worse. The
That's
best.
ominous.
The best of luck.
I will contact some contacts in the lake world. They may want to send an exploratory mission over to help out.
We would not be opposed to this. It's just that I must stress the significance
Urgency.
of our urgency.
Yes.
We have but a week to suss out this
I know.
insubordination.
Did I miss something as to why it's exactly a week and then the world explodes?
No, not the world explodes. They're gonna start shipping people
Yeah.
over to Eos.
Oh, right.
They don't want to send dissenters
This
over.
is true. Yes.
Yeah, he does not feel comfortable shifting large portions of population during a time when
Hit the
So,
exterminatus
is there any
button.
like mass surveillance on this planet? I'll ask the.
unfortunately,
I'll ask
a lot of construction in this world is done
Is there any
independently.
China?
Yeah, can we?
There's a lot of
Can we just like delete people with social credit lower than 10?
unfortunately, a lot of the planet is built upon by independent contractors, and we have very little knowledge of the inner workings. Essentially, anything lower of like a specific altitude, we do not have control over what is built there. We have
just cut off those sections.
It has been done before in times where the weight was too heavy on our striders. We actually had to cut entire.
No, it's like with
streets.
all the dissenters in there.
You can't just do that indiscriminately. There's no chance that you'll catch anyone. It's not a form of execution. They evacuate people. The only people that are killed in those times are those who refuse to leave out of whatever personal reasons.
Okay. Good to know.
But yeah, so we don't like doing that.
We're so used to people being total assholes.
Yeah.
The Planetary Governor wants to stress that he is no tyrant.
Yeah.
I saw like 150 million people die. Like 1 billion people die in like a fucking second. Derith. Remember that shit?
I do not.
No,
was not there.
I was also not there.
Oh.
I have seen many people die though.
This is Derith moments. That's just Derith.
People do die.
Yeah. So the Planetary Governor thanks you for his time, and
You seen a hive spider crack in half?
Yes.
So and then you guys leave the room as the rest of the people on that table begin to discuss with one another, but not before you're able to contact Davin Isendra, the commissar, and he says like, I got a secret stash in my office. Come visit me sometime later. And then
I got a secret stash.
yeah.
No,
So
secret stash. Want to see my feet pics?
Want to see my bolt pistol?
Want to see my feet footage?
when you come into his room, he's like, you want to see my bolt pistol?
You want to see some
biggest
He's holding a dangerous weapon. What was it?
I'll show you my
He has a
dangerous
closet
weapon.
full of spare prosthetic feet.
yeah. So Issendra's position is on. Yeah, he's on Hyperion. That's his station.
Oh, so we can.
But he won't. I don't think he'll be here today because he's staying for.
And the what is the into?
Telesto is on Thea, and Gatovia is on Atlas. So you can contact them at any time, but you have to make the trip over there. So I'll give you some more indication of how that works. Also, I am using subtlety this game, and I will tell you right now that contacting NPCs does not increase subtlety. The allied NPCs, these guys. So
Got it.
feel free to do that as many times as you like. Yeah. So you go back to the hangar, and the major is waiting for you.
Before we leave, I'd like to ask him for some sort of seal that we could show that shows that we're a part of his group, but not the Inquisition.
Some kind of
yes,
monetary
but I
blessing.
will I will give you my blessing, but my one I implore you to keep a low profile and only to use it at the most important of times. And at this junction, the lieutenant actually rises and he addresses you guys, and he speaks for a short period of time, but he says that the Valhallans are spread thin across this world, and I do not claim to have individual control over every individual soul. While I can ensure that none of them will raise arms towards you, I must implore you that I cannot confirm that everyone will be knowledgeable of your mission. So, do not raise suspicion to yourself. You are not above the law on my planet. And then he retracts his arm. So yeah, just he can't tell them to just like look the other way. You got to be careful.
I will nod and say, we are above the law, but we will listen to it.
He nods. So then you go down the maglev. You see as the parties begin to discuss more in your absence. Like they were all silent when he was talking, but now that you're
I'm
gone,
gonna look over to you and say, why are you the leader?
That is a good question. I'm trying to figure out an accent. Sorry.
I mean, I did pretty good on the last mission, and I was the right place at the right time.
I cannot help but think of the teeth. Why did you come across with teeth?
I will make those
I've
knives for
seen
you.
many teeth. They were not even good quality teeth.
These are sandworm teeth.
So, as you
Oh shit, I forgot about that. I was thinking like I just had a bag of human
These
teeth.
are sandworm. Holy fuck, bro! These are sandworm teeth. These are like fucking.
I forgot about the sandworm teeth.
Bro, these are like fuck. You can fucking hurt someone with these.
I was just imagining Herhold, here's
Can I
a
see
bag of
them?
human teeth, turn them into knives.
I'm gonna start like glancing over them.
They are honestly by themselves not the strongest material. However, I was thinking that maybe when fitted with a blade along the edge,
Do they need to be sharp, or are they decorative?
I was going to think decorative, but I mean, hey, a useful knife is never a bad thing.
I can make these into a standard knife.
Would it be possible to have it so that they can be later retrofitted into force blades easier?
No.
Come on.
okay, you said the wrong thing. It's power blade. A force blade is a weapon which you channel psychic energy through.
That is a good thing that I did not know.
Serpent knife. They're small force. Power. Fuck me. I say the right thing because I'm.
Yes.
I'm a mechanic.
Yes, I would have probably said force blade, but I do not know of this.
You just said, yeah. Yeah, I'll say, yeah, I could. They wouldn't serve any purpose, their design, but you could you can put a power field over anything.
Yes. Also, a bayonet plug would be nice too. I mean, these things would look excellent.
You're asking a
too.
lot. For now, I'll make them decorative.
Okay.
So, now that you've set on a location, I'm more than willing to continue this session. Just a FYI, so we've been going on for 2 hours, and because it's our first session and our 5 o'clock time period, just want to get an idea of how long people want to go at the average day.
Well, I actually ate lunch before I came over this time.
You mean dinner?
Yeah, dinner. That's what I meant.
I'd be
I
like,
just
that's
ate
pretty
at 3.
impressive.
Yeah, and I've got like
I
a
can
frozen
keep
meal
going for
upstairs.
this.
I can give. I have like a meal I think.
It's like I can keep going for a bit. I can hold off on dinner.
Yeah, so like,
It's like I feel like we don't want it to drag on for like 5 hours.
so
Maybe
what
4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
4,
so you wanna say
3 to 4
3
hours.
to 4 hours average
That
session?
sounds good.
Go from 5 to 8, 5 to 9?
Yep.
Okay. Just want to ask that now because of the nature of this, it's going to be more freeform than this, and I want to get an idea of how long we can go
Indeed.
with our little side missions.
Yes.
So, you're in the bay once more. The Planetary Governor has given you a seal. This seal, which is like this like
It's
massive.
this type of metal.
It's this massive metal, and it has like
only mammals allowed. Blam.
it has a.
Jesus Christ.
It has like it's like this metal, and it has like this engraving on it about of the planet before it was iced over.
Does it have a little holographic, like Yu-Gi-Oh card?
It's essentially a large decorative ribbon which you can show to someone. Any official who sees that will have to comply, but if you do, that's a huge hit to subtlety anywhere you use it.
I will put it inside.
I currently have my manipulator mechadendrite in front of me as we're walking, and I have my combi tool, and I'm basically just shaving the sides, like sharpening the sides of the tooth.
Yeah, you see as you dig into it, it's like it has there's layers upon layers of it. This isn't like a shark where it sheds its teeth. It has the same teeth for eons, and you're digging into this ancient creature. It's what could have felled this massive beast? It must have been quite the combat. That's just what you're thinking to yourself.
I'm like, he definitely did not do much in that. That's what I'm thinking in my mind.
Bro, melted weapons can go through a lot of flesh.
You show up there, and the major is not, because he was not present for all of that. It is, you can assume that he's kind of out of the loop, but he's been told that he'll give you a transport to wherever you're needed, and then
Honestly,
he won't ask any questions.
The Imperial Knight somehow didn't Sandworm had consumed the entire arm of this thing, and for some reason the gun just didn't fire. So I took my bolt pistol, just started shooting at the gun, and then I commanded my subordinates to do the same, and we got the gun to detonate. And it's
Here's the deceit check. Do you want to roll it?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm really curious. Let me think about
Bro, is this me not of your face? This is totally Noah.
Oh yeah,
It's got the same birthmark and everything.
Oh fuck!
It took me a solid second. It's like, is that fucking Noah?
I was a little, I actually,
Me too, man. I get it.
yeah, that was weird. Let me double check. Do I have to see you?
My nose isn't that round.
It's the angle, you know? You usually aren't talking about people in
I
film,
just
so-
kidding. Yeah.
Wait.
Alright.
I'm just killing. It choked on some heretics and it died. No, actually, I'll tell him that story and then I'll say, I'm just kidding. It choked on heretics and died.
So, unless there are any objections, we shall continue. There are a bunch of these low-range civilian transports, which are available for commercial use in all of the Striders. Because the military has provided you with one, but that's not because they use them, it's because you need to get in there with low subtlety. If you want to use them from now on, you're going to have to pay for them or get some way to get access to them. But you cannot own one yourself. They're like taxis, essentially. You see, it's kind of like this weird folded plane, really light. Yeah?
So I'm gonna take my armor off.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put down my before we leave this place because I don't want to be looking like I'm a.
That's a really good idea.
And I'm gonna suggest that you guys do that as well.
Do you have disguise as a skill? Does
No.
any of you have disguise? All right. Well, at the very least, you can put on regular robes. It won't be perfect disguise because
I'm just gonna look like a normal Mechanicus priest.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I kind of stand out.
No one has.
No, I have unremarkable.
Yes. So Noah's character, I will interpret that in addition to its regular ability, which I know is unremarkable. As Noah does not, unless he goes out of his way, will not attract any attention from the group. But as for you, you definitely have to put out.
I put them in so I put the sword in this sheath on my shield, and then I put my armor in it in this other container on the shield, and it also has my gun and my whips in my arm, so nobody can see that. And then I just put that on my back.
Nice. This is a bit big, but it's not gonna be a significant.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a large backpack.
Now, as for Herhold, what is he going to do?
That's a really interesting question.
If you want it, civilian clothes can be provided to you because of the nature of the weather. There is tons of baggy winter coats.
Massive over parkas and such. Now this is a really interesting question because does Herhold know that the Valhallans do not have commissars?
They do. They have one. They use commissars, but extremely infrequently because they're not very effective on Valhallans.
Okay. So I will just. So do we have any military? Oh, shit, we should have asked some of the military people back there. Is it possible for me to contact one of the army people and see if I can get some Valhallan specific stuff to make it look like I'm supposed to be here? Valhallan commissar,
The commissariat is a separate entity from the Valhallan, from any Imperial Guard regiment.
But
Their uniforms are identical regardless of where they're deployed.
You want to get a Valhallan Guard uniform, is what you're saying.
No, I was.
He wanted to be a Valhallan commissar, but there's
commissar because I mean, there was a. My head is getting things thematically mixed up because of I know what Soviet commissars were dressed as, and they did not.
Commissars are part of the Officio Perfectus, which is a separate branch of the military.
Yes.
They all dress the same. They all have the same mannerisms and orders.
I was thinking that within the thematic background of the Ice Warriors, I was expecting commissars to have a very specific type of dress that I'm imagining.
Similar to the Russian one.
So, but
Yes.
you could just be a like a lieutenant or a sergeant with
Yeah, I guess I could lieutenant or some kind of lieutenant outfit or something.
yeah. So we'll ask for that when we're in there as well.
Maybe like a major.
All right. So would you like to requisition something like
Yeah, I'd like to.
a civilian or military uniform?
I would like to get some. I would like to ask the military for officers' quality off-duty clothing and let's see, a major uniform.
Oh, okay. I would have you do.
I just want a new set of clothing.
I would have you do a fellowship test for that. The major's there waiting for you.
Spirit and Loath, I assume, a +10 for that.
Yeah! Fuck yeah!
It's like, well,
we could get you actually a commander.
the planetary governor.
I can make you a general.
The planetary governor did not specify we were to provide you with anything, but I do have a set of clothes that I guess I'm not needing in need of. So if you need to, we have a
stop with that roll. Fuck. Fucking great.
I played Dark Heresy to escape the bard memes, not to embrace them.
I would like to lay the Snake Man.
Lay the Lord Dragon.
Yes.
Lay the Lord.
I said slay the heretic, not lay the heretic. I said slay the demon, not lay the demon.
Slanesh approves.
I pledged my soul to Slanesh.
Anyway.
Okay, yeah, go back to the...
You are able to get yourself a pair of, of what you specified. You wanted officers' clothing or officers off-duty clothing? As
Anyone notice how when Al is annoyed at our shit, he talks with like a slight British accent?
That's funny.
He gets quite cross.
Yes,
Quite
you
irate.
get your you get your clothing and whatever. So everyone has something to do to not stand out, and I appreciate that. You gather on this like skiff runner. That's what they're called. And you see there are actually a few civilian workers. They were like running along the gantries and repairing all the ships alongside the servitors, and they're going off to
gun, or do the Valhallans use the normal gun?
So you shift on this public transport, and it's like crowded. You see all of these workers. They have harnesses strapped around them, and these like pretty bulky looking like set of tools and whatever. But also pretty interestingly, they have these what looks like lanterns, but they don't seem to have like a natural source of light. Instead, they emanate with this like aura of heat, and when they all huddle together like that, it becomes like bearable temperatures inside this like rickety little civilian transport. So as we travel,
Oh shit. So would I have a? Oh fuck. Okay, I believe you went.
so
No las gun. No las gun.
okay.
What's this? Oh, yeah. Okay.
So everyone is
Because
unarmed.
it's like an urban one, and then everyone's walking around with like snow-colored ones. This doesn't look right. Sus.
Anyways, so you're on the little transport. You see people are actually pretty talkative. They're in high spirits. One of them, as you exit the head of War Machine and you go through the pack, you see one of them is like pointing, he's like, look down, and you can see the small one kind of the small strider like huddling underneath the legs of Mother. And you see like people like exchanging glances and they're talking about it. It's like, what will you do?
Inquiry, man. Inquire.
You want to do stuff?
Yeah, what are you hoping for? 40.
That is a success.
All right. So, what's your question?
Yes.
What are you inquiring about to these people?
That is a very good question.
Are you trying to suss out their intentions, or are you asking them a question directly?
I'm trying to suss out their intentions.
And what intentions are you sussing out?
Any heretical intentions?
Dissent.
Be more
Dissent.
All right. Although some persons like, well, how long is it going to take them to move people on there? And like kind of like a question.
Oh, so yeah.
And it's like, they say that they're doing it in just a week or so. Just a week? It seems a little early, don't you think? And then like they continue conversing, but no other.
These are civilians or guard?
These are just civilians.
Yeah,
these are workers that were like they were building, like helping construct everything.
So it seems like the children of the Emperor's son. What are they called? The Emperor's
no, faithful sons are they called?
The faithful sons. These are faithful sons, right?
Some of them have the red sashes, not all of them.
Okay, and
Sanguinolo.
do we get the sense that the people with the sashes are more in favor than the other people? They're like more interested in this.
Well, the initiator of the original conversation had a red sash, and the one who's more skeptical does not have one. If that's what you're wondering.
I'm gonna lean over to you two, and I'm gonna say, this cult could be useful.
Could be, but it could be.
I refuse to believe that what they have is simply in the best interest of the people. Otherwise, they wouldn't be called a cult.
It could be this.
That isn't the cult of the.
The Cult of the Emperor was the old name of the Adeptus Ministrorum.
Okay, it's not
Ministorum
called that anymore.
Sorry, it's not called that anymore.
It was what the Ministorum was called before it was
Sanctioned.
empire-wide.
Yes. State religion.
God.
So you see, do you guys want to keep on like listening, or you rather spend more time trying to be inconspicuous?
Like this.
I'd like them to listen in.
I would
I'm
like
just
to
gonna
listen
stand
in,
there now.
yeah.
All right, so describe what you're doing. So like you're like shoulder to shoulder with these people. Like you're getting a nice time with heat for the first time in a while. It was really warm in the chambers of the Planetary Governor, but everywhere else has been extremely cold. And this is like your first time with other people. They're kind of huddling together and sharing body heat with these with whatever these lantern-like technology strapped to their waists are. And it's a nice bit of respite.
Does it seem like the Mechanicus are like interacting with people here?
There is another person adorned with red robes of the cult, but of the cult Mechanicus. Sorry, I should have specified. But they seem to be very quiet and reserved. They have like a.
I'll act like other Mechanicus.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to like?
I just want to listen in. Just stand there and listen.
Mm-hmm. You see, so do you want to like get closer to the tech priest, or just?
Oh sure, yeah. I'll head over to the tech priest.
Yeah. So you sit next to him, and as you're walking towards this guy, it's like, oh, I can blend in when I walk next to him. You kind of like elbow somebody, like not intentionally, you just kind of like brush up next to them, and he turns around and is like, hey, excuse me, and he kind of shuffles out of the way. You see that he's like scratching his face, kind of, when he does that.
Could I make a Medicaid test?
Yes, you may.
What's wrong with your face?
Pretty sure it's drugs. Like out of character.
Is that a?
I'm gonna spend a fucking fake
Can
test.
I
just
also-
want
I
to
can also
succeed
check
once.
Medicaid, Dave. I can also check Medicaid.
That actually passes with my algorithms.
Al,
Yeah.
Okay.
Auguration, that's So not add to medical.
Nope, sorry, my medical mechadendrite. It gives a +10.
Are you using the medical mechadendrite on him?
Well, no, it senses things.
But what I'm saying is, Gabe, if you want to have all the benefits of not appearing like someone who's using high-tech equipment, you can't use the high-tech equipment in open space. Especially in an area as cramped as where I'm sitting right now with a person on either side of me. You can't pop it open and like look at it.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
sure.
rolling Medicare.
Show you that.
I succeeded.
All right, a 33. So
That is 4 degrees of success.
So I'd imagine after you sit next to the tech priest, Gabe, you go back and describe that. It's like normally I would have used my equipment, but unfortunately I can't really do it in this circumstance. He had like some sort of thing on his face, and you think it's like, you point him out in the crowd. It's like, that guy looks like he's suffering from a bite from a creature. That's what you're able to determine.
Odd.
Yeah, and then you see like as he kind of scratches a little bit more people kind of notice and give him some birth, some space. But yeah, before you can really think about that any further, you get a little voice on the intercom. It's like, we've arrived, and yep.
Can I use... So, auger arrays can sense things scientifically about people. I want to see if there's any,
And this is the one in your hand, right? Because you can use that, which is fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, take use to sense biosigns, ambient radiation, invisible gases, poisons.
Do you have stealth trained?
Stealth?
Yes.
No.
All right.
Stealth isn't a thing that you can train.
What's it called? Like concealed position? What's the one in first edition called? Where you don't be seen?
Oh no.
Unremarkable?
I don't know.
Fairly certain.
There's shadowing, which is like stealth, but that's super advanced, and you need to be like really high level.
There's
You're
a
not
thing
an
called a
assassin.
stummer.
Deceive? No.
There's a
Sleight of hand?
variety of actions.
Silent move.
I guess silent move would count, but like a variety of checks that you could do to make this less conspicuous. But you can, if you just want to take out the
Operate
things
jetpack?
and check them out.
You don't want me to use silent move. My agility.
Do I have to
is
like
22.
go like that at him?
No, you
Close.
literally, you just gotta point
Yeah,
in general direction, hold down.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
You
No,
stand
I'm gonna
up.
go back to what I'm
Wait,
doing.
no, it
Take
just
you-
sticks straight. No, you take a little rubber pad and you drop
Is that
it.
another 90? Oh my god, Gabe. You're rolling like I do with your games.
Now think about it this way. It's like Gabe has all the great dice luck, so they want to roll high.
Hey, that's fair.
This is true.
So you use,
but
you use the machine, but you're unable to determine anything. Well, how many degrees of failure is that, by the way?
Let me see. 91. I have 43 in intelligence. I have plus 20 to tech use, and I'm talented. So that's
Less than 5, right?
yeah. Oh yeah. For
Okay, yeah. You don't attract additional attention to yourself. You just
Yeah,
the
I have a 73, and I have a combi 2.
It's like
So yeah.
infection from unknown creature scrolls out on your screen.
So
So
could I attempt to follow this dude, because unremarkable does make a -20 to checks to notice me among the crowd.
Yes, you may do so.
Notice
I will
me,
have.
senpai.
So you want to? Everyone's docking on the side of the strider. So instead of being on the head like you were before, you're now on the side.
It's not, I'm not trying to be sneaky. I'm just trying to get
Follow behind
him and get lost in the crowd.
If you want to do that, you're gonna have to separate from the group. The body of the group will be like behind you. We're not gonna like split the party. We're just gonna have you. physically
that's
farther
fine.
away. I'll have him roll perception. There's a -20.
-20.
All right, and he is a regular Imperial citizen, so his stats should never be better than 30. A 53 automatically fails. He does not notice you. He kind of goes on like, damn, and like pulls up something to cover his face.
But he was actually a brood lord.
Yes. Oh wait, fuck. So yeah, you're able to tail him.
Okay, so from my knowledge, so I have forbidden lore work.
Yes. Would you like
Is
to
this Nurgly?
roll? No. Technically, all disease is Nurgle, but this is not warp-born, if that's what you want.
Yes.
Someone actually made that. It's the fucking Ivan meme, but
Alright, so, okay. Is there a common lore I could have is there a lore that I have that could tell what sort of creature it is? Scholastic lore legend?
You may check this if you want to.
Common lore. I'm just going to make it the common lore check.
Just show him the lore stuff that you have.
Okay,
and then let him...
Administratum, Ecclesiarchy, Imperial Creed, Imperium, Tech, War, Cults, Heresy, Warp, Legends, and Philosophy.
Let me inspect it.
Oh wait, no, I don't have Warp. I didn't
What are
have
the
enough points to pick that one up.
philosophical implications of this bite mark?
I'd say Heresy, Cults, Tech, War, Imperium,
Imperial Creed.
Imperial Creed. Roll.
There's also these.
I will let you do, out of all the ones that you haven't already tried, I'd say Legend is your only bet for something non like bureaucratic related.
That is a cock die. I succeed.
You succeed. There are there are many legends that speak of great diseases, but this is far too subtle of an infection to be considered anything on that scale, unless we were to assume that the traitorous son of the emperor, the barbarian king, descended from the heavens to bless this man with the most unholy of diseases, and that also resembles something extremely minor that does not inconvenience him.
I mean, he might also just have scabies. So.
Kind of like how WebMD will always list cancer as a
Yeah, exactly. I diagnose you with dead.
any symptom, it's like it could be cancer.
I mean, it could just be shingles.
So he's
He had chickenpox when he was little.
So you guys enter into the sprawling crowd. You see at the base of the harness, you haven't like entered the main city yet. There's just like hub upon hubs of all of these people convening after work. There's like trade going on. People are going through the city. You can see that there are tons of the Cult of the Faithful Sons here. They're all organized in front of a preacher who is going on about the sanctity of the Striders and whatever. He's on like a podium. And you can see that there are people.
How are people treating him?
So you have like a minority, because this is not this area is not controlled by the cult. He's adopting new members. You have a few people who are like kneeling in front of him, and even more like in fervent prayer. But you can see that most of them, there's only a small percentage of them that actually have the sash. So that implies that they're like new initiates. Yep, and you can see that there are a few people like standing in crowds, kind of like, can you believe this? You know, there is a portion that are actively kind of like, I don't believe this, but there's no conflict, and you can see that there are a few Valhallans even there, just in case something breaks out. In addition, you can see that there are you're on like this platform where the skiff can drop off more people. You look on either side and you see there are these massive like harpoon guns that are angled at the ground. You see someone's like counting down, and he pulls on a giant like lever, and then they fire this giant grappling like hook into the oceans down below, looking to fish for something. Because you see a majority of the planet where they get their food from is fishing, because this is an ocean world, and below the ice is a surviving aquatic world essentially. So you can see like there's like a market, people are selling the food, and you can also see that there is this large area which has been marked as like do not enter, quarantined, and you can see that the character that Noah is trailing is walking to that place. So, are you going to break away from this individual, or are you going to keep on following?
I'm going to keep on following until he goes in the quarantine area.
What about you guys? Are you going to keep on? Are you going to try to be like tail behind, or you want to be close to Noah?
Let him do his thing.
You know what? This is a very interesting conundrum, because
We can always just drop back.
We can come back later.
Start. We can always just wait.
Well, I
for
want to
him.
see if he's going into the goddamn
So
place.
I'm gonna just
Actually-
microbead you, and I'm gonna say,
No, you can just wait here and see if he goes in, and then possibly wait and see if he comes out,
Yeah, that's more or less it.
and we can still just talk to you.
if you're watching him, we're gonna keep going.
Okay. I'm gonna just keep watching him.
So he approaches the area. There's like a fence kind of thing, and he reads like there's this giant scroll. It's like this area has been quarantined, and he like reads it, and he's like scratching his head. Doesn't get what he doesn't understand what's going on.
But can he not read?
And he like looks around. He's gonna scan again to see if you're following him. Well, because he doesn't know if you're following him. 26. He still does not succeed. Not with your bonus. Are you guys following him? You're staying away, right?
We're not following him.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what.
I'm gonna ask what's going on.
So you're gonna ask him, or you're gonna ask him?
I'm asking him.
If I start speaking, will that tip? Do I? think
You're
that
in the
will tip
center
him
of the
off?
crowd right now. You're not too close to him.
Okay. He's seems to be confused about the quarantine.
You can see that he's like looking
So
underneath the scroll.
He's
He
trying to-
could be. Could you read what the quarantine says?
What does it say?
He's from this distance. You can say it's like warning. Because it's pretty far away unless you want to get closer and risk
I
being
would like
found
to
out.
roll literacy.
Yes, roll literacy.
No.
Well,
I can't read.
in a glorious
That's for our hard
Yeah.
roll. Is it?
in a great example of imperial bureaucracy incompetence, a order for safety measures. You can't read all of it, but you can determine that this order for not entering this area because it is dangerous is written in High Gothic. So he does not understand. He cannot read it.
Is that because I failed the roll?
Well, you can't read it, and it's like, wait, why can't I read
I
this?
can read High Gothic.
Well, not like it's not Low
Oh yeah.
Gothic.
Okay. No,
That's
I can
why.
read High Gothic.
Yeah.
It's Cyrillic.
Yeah,
It
so
isn't
the,
even
the
fucking
other guy can't.
Fuck the
Okay.
Hounds.
Oh right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. So he's gonna look over his shoulder one last time, and he's going to start scaling the fence. Are you gonna stop him?
He's going to fence. Should I?
I'm gonna start walking over to him.
All right.
Should I get, because I
Should
can
we-
I can just sort of walk up behind him and I'll drug him.
What?
I have Obscura.
No, why the fuck would you do that?
Because
It's
I
not.
want to.
Okay. No, he does not. He does not see you.
I'm gonna step up and I'm gonna say, hello, sir. I don't think you're supposed to be climbing that. Just giving you a warning.
What? And he's about up there. He's like one leg over. It's like, huh? What's going on?
I'm gonna read the sign off to
Do
him.
you have authorization to be here? What is your?
What? You say it's quarantined, and his voice gets really panicked. It's like you mean, and he drops down. You can hear him sprain his leg kind of when he falls down, and then he starts very panickedly running off into the district, and he starts calling out people's names.
Okay.
As he exits, a Valhallan guard comes up, and he's like,
A man
what's
just
going on?
climbed in there.
Oh, this is not good. We should probably call the full Venatories.
What's going on?
Okay, let me.
Send the description out. He was wearing what's it? Mechanical robes. Got a bite mark on his face.
No, he was not the mechanical guy. He was just a regular person.
Regular person.
Yeah, he was discovered when Gabe walked towards the mechanical guy.
I never talked to him.
Hyperion is currently experiencing an infection. They are sick, and it is supporting a.
Does it start with an itching neck?
Oh, that's not good at all. He's going to explain. I am not well versed in the nature of the situation.
Are there any
vaccines? Only that there are hostile fauna living within the bellies of this beast, and they infect areas of the spire. And the fulminators are the only ones equipped. They've developed technology unique to them that is suited for dealing with it. We should call on them. and he walks over to like a little servitor area, and is able to. He puts in like a little message. They should be here soon. Thank you for reporting the citizen. Ave Imperator. Have a great day. And he can basically go back.
Ave Maria. Have a great day.
He goes back to what he was doing.
I'm gonna wait for the full natives to arrive. That's who we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So after a bit, you're kind of waiting around. As time passes, there are you can see like some people have even shown up because this was like the first. It's like towards the end of the day, and people are just getting back from work. So people are like just coming in and seeing this. So you see like there's like a small crowd of people kind of like looking at their hometown being shut down, and they're all kind of scratching their heads.
I'm gonna look to these two, and I'm gonna ask you guys to go talk to them and just try and get a vague idea of how people feel about the fulminators in the city.
So what are you gonna do while they do that?
While they do that, I wanna. You said there was a little like area where people could send messages and stuff. I want to see if that's accessible.
Sure. So you walk up and you can see that it's like an outpost. There's these little outposts everywhere where the guard convene, and you see there's a few Valhallas there. They have this equipment that seems to be sending messages through these tubes all around the Strider. And like they hand it to the servitor. They basically like say something
it's
to
like
the
a
servitor.
pneumatic.
The servitor types something out on a scroll, rips it, wraps it, boom, and then goes down to wherever it's needed. It does not look like the average citizen has access to this. But if you would like to roll perception, you could see something interesting.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. So is this perception or just like awareness? Or?
Whichever is better.
Okay.
Plus 10. Do you succeed? 85?
I'm so fucking annoyed.
Should I be next to your character just in case of like?
Yeah. From what you can see right now, it is civilians off limits. It's just for them.
Okay.
Like you're even like you start like they kind of call you out. It's like, hey, no loitering. Like they kind of.
It's like, can I head over to where they are?
Sure.
I'm a doctor. I can help. Is there anything I can do?
To the quarantine, not to our gates.
Yeah, to the quarantine.
It's like, why is this wall here? If you're a doctor, are you with the Fulminators?
No.
Well, then this is like some like mother was talking to you with her child. It's like, well, my husband was back for work and he disappeared. Our home's down there, but there's this wall. We don't know why it's here.
I would like to describe the bite man and ask if that was him.
No, that does not sound like him. I don't think so. But even still, I do not understand why our entrance is bordered. There's these scrolls here, but they don't seem to be of low Gothic.
They say that there's a disease outbreak here.
Well, I understand. Yes, we've heard stories about it, but never knew that the disease would spread. The ice pit infection would spread so far up the spire. And as she says this, you can hear other people say, ice pits, infection, quarantine. Then it's like spreading through the crowd.
Can I roll Medicaid to see if I've ever heard anything about this before?
Good night.
Yo, I'm gonna do the same and hope that
I rolled an 8.
Ice pit. Although the ice.
I rolled a 3.
Bruh. Okay, let me try. Let me try.
Cock die. Nope.
68.
I think it's a disease.
So ice pits. From what you hear about it,
Ice pits. That's like where a bunch of fiends get cracked, right?
Although you do not know the name of the creature, there is a species, like an entire species of insectoid fauna, xenofauna, that have like the PID in their last name, and they're from what you know,
Like
they're
Vespens?
kind of. They are.
Gabe just gave me a look.
They are
Vespens.
aggressive, territorial, and they're not known to be man-eaters because they generally don't grow very large, but they are highly toxic. Although there are known cures. It is not something one can do without the proper equipment. And from what you're able to suss out from your time here already, you can already tell that there is not, at least on this Strider, unless there's some other organization you haven't heard of before, there doesn't seem to be technology available to these people to synthesize a cure.
So, do they give disease like malaria, or is it more
specifically their venom? It's highly toxic.
Okay, so it kills one person when they get bit. So the infection is probably that the Vespids are here.
Yeah,
Well, not specifically Vespids.
I'm sorry, the ice pits.
Yeah.
I just.
I think that if Vespids were here, we would have an entirely different problem on our
Yes,
hands.
Yeah, so where's the guard?
Yeah, where's the guard?
What happened to the guard?
Why are Tau Empire?
Yeah, why is the Tau
here?
Empire here?
Excuse me.
No, it's just that.
Oh god, there's Vespid porn.
You just fucking searched that.
I literally just looked up Vespid 40k. It's like the 6th result.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's like they open like this walls of the Strider burst out, and there's just a ton of fire warriors just come bursting out of the skin of the
Vespids are highly evolved strain of this. There are tons of like non-sentient races of pids across the galaxy.
Okay.
If that's what you're wondering. They're not like
Pids.
there aren't like it's not like an entire society, if that's what you're wondering. They're a wild animal.
So okay, they're not sentient. That's important.
Yes, sorry, I did not make that clear. I named them independently of Vespids. I didn't really think about them.
This is my OC. Do not steal.
Yes.
It's funny. I tried to find Vespid porn and I couldn't find any when I searched Vespid
No,
porn.
you just go to E621.
I don't know what that is.
Stop. Anyways, what
It's
did
a
you say?
website I found a Hugh Neutron port of on the other day and showed it to Al.
I'll be right back. I'm going to drink water.
I'll
Okay,
be right back. I
so,
gotta kill myself.
You guys come up with some theories on what you should do. This, by the way, as I will specify, it's a giant hive sprawl. There is no indication that this is the only entrance to that section.
We could try and go in with the fulminators.
I have navigate
Yep.
hives.
Well,
Okay,
you guys
what-
are pretty good talks, right?
No.
Yes.
He is. What are you good at? Inquiry, or do you have charm?
I have. Let's see. So
I have inquiry
Do you
and
have
awareness.
command?
I have air of authority, which lets me give command roles to random people.
Okay, good.
So
That's what you need.
you, well, with bolt pistol.
Not with it. You don't need a bolt pistol to make a fucking command.
I know, but that would just get him.
Are you? So what is Jack doing?
No, we were gonna
He's
see
pulling out his
if we
bolt
should
pistol
sneak
and
around
shooting
and try
around.
and
No,
find.
he
'cause
asked
I'm not
me-
good at sneaking.
He asked me, what kind of talking are you good at? You do like command, you have charm, and it's like, I have air of authority that lets me do command rolls on civilians. And then I was like, and he was like, whoa, that's really
No, Herhold just starts commissarying a bunch of civilians.
I blam a random person.
What's that, Godsman?
You! Get me my...
Fetch me my las pistol.
I have to get to work. BAM! No!
Oh yeah, it lets you make commands against a whole bunch of
I can make
people.
commands just groups of frightened
Yeah.
people.
You may do so.
Let's see, so...
Well, we gotta wait until the people get here, right?
So yeah, actually, funny you should mention that. There are a few. The people start like kind of making a C in the crowd, like they part, and then you see that there are three members of what you assume to be the Fulminators, because everyone's giving them attention. The Fulminator garb, if I can describe it, they have a iron cast breastplate with their logo on it, which is this like rudimentary like square with two rectangles like directly uplined next to them, basically like an upside down V with a space between the point of intersection. They have on that logo they have these. It's like this kind of leathery like armor all over their bodies. They have like fur coats, not coats, but like collars. A lot of people have that here. It's one way to keep warm. They have large tanks of some unknown substance strapped to their backs, and they have these very long masks. It's hard to describe, but it's kind of like with like varying design. You know, this is kind of a funny reference, but
Like,
no, not like that, like up.
Oh,
So
shit.
if you can imagine, do you remember the hazmat guys from Monsters Inc? Like those yellow suit guys, you know?
Oh, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
like the hazmat guys from Monsters Incorporated, how they had like this like randomized like little like goggles and whatever.
Yeah, they had the vacuums.
Yeah, and the little
yeah, I see him.
little visors and whatever. So if you can think about their visor or whatever is randomized just like that. It's like you have one guy with like 2, one guy with 3. It's odd, but that's like their most defining feature is that long.
And they're like fully covered, right?
Yeah, no indication, no skin showing. I mean, that's most people here, save for like the face because of how cold it is. People have like masks and whatever. And stuff like that, and just like face covers, scarves. Some people even wear the red scarves over their faces as opposed to on their armbands. So these guys show up, and one of them does not have the mask. They're just a human being, regular human being, and they're like asking around. It's like, did anyone see? Who was there a report?
I'll raise my hand.
Yes, you over there. Were you witness of the person crossing quarantine?
Yes.
You kind of like looks over to you into the streets because the streets past the quarantine point kind of sprawl out, and that place is all barren. Obviously, it's like, did you see where he went?
He climbed over the fence and then jumped down.
Like you can recollect where he was, so I'm assuming you give him directions.
Oh, yes.
He's like, thank you very much, citizen. We will look into this. As for now, can I make a request while I'm here? Can you ensure that no one else enters in our absence? We cannot enforce him with such low numbers, but we need to find him now. He is in grave danger.
The itching.
Yes. That is first sign of infection. It is unfortunate that he was allowed to leave in the first place and potentially...
Can you cure him?
They think about it for a second. Can you describe how bad it was? And when you remember, it was really faint.
It was quite faint.
All right. It is possible. We will look into it. But for now, maintaining order is important. So we will scale the fence and make sure no one else follows us.
All right, everyone, move along. Nothing to see here.
All right, would you like to make a roll? Does that
Top
succeed?
dice.
That's.
I mean, probably, unless your fellowship is really low for some
that
reason.
may fail by 1. That's. Let me see.
Oh boy.
That failed by 1.
I will
Can
say
you spend a fate point to add 10? Or is that only second?
that's first edition as well. I'll let you do that.
First,
Spend a fate point. So although it's kind of sudden out of nowhere, people get the gist and they start to they start to disperse.
Well, then my pistol is very clear.
For your sake, I'm going to say you didn't do that.
I mean, no, I'm dressed as a military officer.
I thought you said that you were doing an officer's off clothes, like isn't that what you said?
I thought I was dressed as a military officer.
Okay, sure, you're dressed.
Because I assumed that military officers. Why?
Yep, sure. We'll say that's why you got the +10 to the roll. So what's up, kid? Do you want to say something? You look like you want to say something.
I want to look to them and I'm like,
What? Get us in. Yes.
So you see the fulminators. They have like a cutting tool. Like one of them produces like one of those Jinsu occult like kind of rock saw things. Like cuts themselves in open through the barricade and they walk through.
No, wait. Can we like talk to them before they leave?
So the masked ones, the masked ones don't even attempt to talk to you. It's the one guy without his thing on, and he's got a rebreather that obscures his face, but you can see that like face up, it's just a regular human being.
Okay.
There's a I'm a doctor. Is there anything
You
I can
over
do to
there. Unfortunately, I cannot, in good faith, ask you to come with us. Fulminators, we have very, our people risk their lives to make sure that there is minimal chance of infection. And even someone of your standing as a doctor, without proper equipment, I can't, unless you, feel like he thinks about it for a second, because it's like, is it true that he did not show large signs of infection?
Yes.
So, and you are.
Can I just
Do you
get this to a
believe that you
command
can
roll? To...
help? Yes.
Yes, we know of. We both know of the ice pit. We were both.
You are familiar.
I mean, I am a
I'm not
biologist.
familiar. I'm a doctor.
Well, we can.
And my authority
Doctor.
says so too.
No, that's a 97 or a 79.
Wait,
doesn't
wait,
it?
that doesn't even make
Roll
sense. Whoa, that doesn't even, I'm getting 97,000.
You fail with 9,000
A fucking vacuum of idiocy opens up. 63.
While we thank you for your contribution, you are not needed at this time. We do not need it as The Fulminators are an independent organization from the Adeptus of Stratum, as you know. We thank you for your time, officer, but we must attend this to ourselves. As for you, you seem to be of some use to us.
Right.
Did you mention some knowing the origins of these things?
Yes, we know of the ice.
Yeah,
Ice
that's
pit?
what it's called.
Yeah, I remember Vest pit and I remember ice.
Yep. And it's like, well, I suppose, but only on the condition that you wear these. And he takes up rebreathers, similar to the ones that he's wearing, not the ones that his friends are wearing.
I pull out the shield.
Ah, excellent.
I have one, but I open up my kit and I try and hide the fact that it's got really weird looking bits of metal in there real quick as I close it and put on a rebreather.
Is he a friend of yours? He gestures to that one.
I'm a supervisor.
He's our guard. We're
He's-
important,
Somebody do
important scientists.
somebody do fellowship somewhere.
He is.
Okay, look.
He kind of. I don't know who he is.
No, he's like
I'm not gonna pretend like we don't know.
he's
I'm going to pretend that
okay.
I don't
Look,
know.
you.
What the?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, so let's see. So you're just a random Imperial citizen.
Yes.
Yeah. So he is.
I'm trying to remain inconspicuous. Like, it makes sense for the guard and the admech to be together, but like, I'm trying to pretend to be a random doctor.
You're a doctor.
Yeah. I'm a
That's enough.
doctor.
Yeah.
Yes. So
yes, he is actually with us.
What?
He is supposed to.
I'm pretending. I'm going along. I'm
This
kidding.
would
Come
work.
on. God damn it.
yeah. So you can roll fellowship again. This time with the +10 bonus.
Okay. Kill me.
Just fucking re-roll it with your
Re-roll
goddamn
with
fate.
Does that succeed with the plus?
The +10.
If it didn't succeed on the 45.
Can anyone help him?
I'm going to.
Like corroborate his story or something?
Yeah, please.
Present something that.
I'm
is
gonna
there
step
any-
up and I'm gonna just have a. I'm gonna have. I'm gonna have my like Medicaid tool appear.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just.
Right
I'm just
behind
gonna
me.
grab out my box of Medicaid things.
Well, if you won't help us, if you do not wish to come without him, I guess I have no choice. But you can tell that he's not very happy.
I'm not very happy either.
Just fucking go somewhere else then.
Fate point upgrade. All right, so you guys enter into the quarantine zone, and you can see it's like as you enter, like the hubbub of the crowd kind of dies down as you enter into this more like derelict area, and you can see that like as you turn the corner down this road that this guy entered, it's like a kind of like low hanging green fog mist like accumulating at the bottom.
I'm gonna start putting my armor to cover up skin.
Ah, that's a good idea. Does anyone else have exposed skin that they can they cover?
I can cover it up. I mean, I just got the robes, so I can probably cover it up.
It's like
Actually, no. Yeah, I'm completely okay. So collars up, scarf, and hat.
Rebreather.
Yeah, the
Keep your-
rebreather's on underneath my hat and my stuff.
Keep your eyes out for the individual. It's important that we track him down, and also for any bits of movement.
Ah, you
Attempt
say
to see-
tracking. This I have.
Rolls another 90.
84, I must roll.
Best character I possess. Roll like shit, I will. Hey, 17.
That passes. That's 3 degrees.
All right, so you're able to.
character I possess. Roll ones, I will.
So you walk up and you have there's like all most of the houses are like been boarded up, and you can see that there's like this growth that like these kind of look like oh, how am I describing it? Are you familiar with those mushrooms that have like the holes in them? What? I'm trying to think of how.
Do they look like spongy?
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like a spongy kind of like they got like holes in it.
like a sponge structure, kind of.
A sponge in shape with a honeycombous texture.
And now you
Very- So like a sponge's structure. You know how like sponges aren't like a bunch of holes, are just like a bunch of really small things that are just flexible, right?
Yeah,
And then the honeycomb, it's slightly like.
What I meant to say is that they're not like defined shape, but they have the honeycomb pattern.
Got it.
It's like if you had, because like in real life, like beehives aren't like perfectly shaped. It's kind of like that. You can imagine just growth of them, but they're on the ground and like they're all over the place, and they seem to be like seeping out.
I'm gonna pull out my auger and start scanning for life signs.
Do a tech use, and you actually
I'm gonna have my full fucking thing out.
yeah. Yeah.
Like a spider.
All right, and then and the other thing too is that your tracking has led you to an individual house, because I didn't get you the result.
Yeah, I got it.
Now you can scan it with your auger array. That's a 12. All right, so
I just had to get the bad rolls out of the way.
you detect 2 life signals in that. And so you can see that like one of the guys has like this loaded a pistol, and the other 2 have the masked ones have shotguns.
I'm gonna
want me to-
send out. I'm gonna just say like.
You want me to order?
There's
that
2
now?
life signs. It is probably a relation of his.
Are they armed?
We may have to remove the man from whoever it is, and I'm gonna start to head in.
Understood. Okay, so you're going first.
Yeah.
All right.
First into the breach.
Yep. and
Okay.
I'm assuming you got your shield then.
Yeah.
Wait, guys. What are the alternate exits of this building? Do we know?
That's a good idea, Herhold. You
Yeah.
should check.
Okay, Master.
I stopped.
Or go. Okay, are you sure?
Does anyone else have search, or is Gabe just gonna have to go hold off on the assault and check for alternate exits?
Okay, so let me see. Do we actually have some?
I'm gonna just like motion for the 2.
Okay, so there's 3
you
of
said
us.
there's a
We
bunch.
will surround the
3
building.
in total. The guy who talked to you and 2 masked people.
I'm gonna motion for 2 of them to circle around.
Surround the building.
Okay,
As you don't have a very good standing with them, so please do
combat
communicate.
non-existent.
Oh no!
Yeah, I do.
Well, just don't even.
But my fellowship
like
skill.
hide around the corner. No.
My ballistic skill is 26 and I have a stub pistol.
9G8.
Hide around
They
the
kind of like they tilt their head at you, like they miss.
I'm gonna gesture over to the guy. I'm like, you should probably cover up the exits.
And it's like, well, I'll have like he kind of steps forward. I'll have you know, I brought you here on a technicality. I don't know what this whole kind of gestures to all your systems and stuff is, but but the important
hostiles in the building.
the important part here is that we're the experts on fighting these things. Okay, don't act like you know how to control us.
No.
Like, he doesn't say it like that, but you know what I mean.
I say, it's not the creatures that I'm worried about. It's the people.
He kind of takes a step off, like you missed the tempo or something. Yes, I understand. And then he's like, I will go around if you wish, and he'll bring his guys and they'll come around.
Okay.
So they report that there is an alternate exit and that they're going to start breaching it in conjunction with you.
Got it.
So
we'll do like
I'm gonna
countdown
be
from
within,
20s.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so this is the. Oh yeah, no, I can. Yeah, bolt pistol out. Let's.
So you breach. You're in. Yeah, the door is like it's not unlocked. But it's kind of like jammed. You want to like kick it down or something?
I draw my blade, mono. I just cut the lock.
Almost no effort whatsoever. Your blade just kind of disintegrates it at the contact, and then you make your way in, and you see it's like a 2-story.
I would like to enter into an alternative egg. Another. Is there any?
That's being headed up by the
doing.
fulminators.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you see this it's all been abandoned. Like a bunch of stuff's been taken out. And it looks like it was all done like in recent time, like nothing's like accumulated dust or whatever. But it's like the fog is heavy here, and you see there's like liquid on the ground, like it's accumulated there, and it's just
start clearing room. First of all, let's start clearing rooms. Make sure we're safe first.
Well,
we'll start looking at what
do
the
we
liquid
see
is.
the man?
no, it's not here.
Okay.
Where does my auger say that he is?
Above you. There's 2 stories.
I'm gonna start heading up the stairs.
Alright.
Shield out in front.
So, and you're trailing behind him.
Yes, I'm trailing behind him.
Roll awareness.
Okay, so Gabe, tell me what room are they in?
Directly
floor
above us.
Yeah, it's just room.
So like in the front part
room
of
this shape. You entered here. There is a staircase.
and then there's probably like a
yeah. Gabe's character is right there, going up the staircase. Jack is right here.
I felt that.
I'm gonna point a flamethrower behind me.
You can't see behind you. It's just pointed behind you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bro, I'm behind you.
Roll awareness as well.
Bro.
It's not pointed at you. It's pointed above me.
It's a.
That's a 6.
Okay, so you take the first step on the stairs.
And I have the auger, so that's a crazy amount of degrees of success.
You take a step upstairs, and then you realize there's something wrong. Although one of the signatures was above you, the other signature was slightly lower. And when you kind of flick the screen, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why, if he's on the 2nd floor, how is he slightly lower today? You turn around, you see on the ceiling right by right directly underneath him, there's this creature. Remember how I said that most kids don't reach the size of a human?
This large.
This one is
large.
about
large.
I guess it's 7 feet long and tall. It's basically resting on the ceiling, looking directly at you, and it has four red eyes right at you, and it wings kind of like insectoid-like wings that kind of bring out. All right, so
my shock whip appears.
Yes, good job. Okay, Jack was about to be mauled by this thing when he.
And I'm gonna step in front of Jack's character.
All right,
Thank you, because I think the rim of my hat prevented me from seeing the enemy on the ceiling.
I would have all.
Wait, actually, how far away is it? Because I might just draw my gun instead.
It's not within melee, but it's looking directly at you because you were up the first step on the stairs.
Yeah, my lathe goes.
All right, roll initiative.
Oh
I
boy!
got a +1.
Fucking
You rolled
kids.
2
Plus it's agility.
It still may go faster than Jack.
I got 6. I'm on 6.
I got a 5.
Yeah. Okay. So you act 12. You
Yeah, I got
barely act first.
Okay. Oh shit, this thing's fast. I'm gonna point my las rifle at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to half aim.
All right. So no movement, and then you're gonna fire.
Yeah, and I am going to fire sub-automatic. What is it called? Semi-automatic. I don't know why I said sub-automatic.
So a plus 10 to hit on your ballistic skill. That's a
Plus 20 because I'm aiming as well as a half.
no. Half action is just plus 10.
Yeah, but then isn't semi-automatic plus 10?
Oh shit.
Also, this thing is within short distance.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
how
No,
it's-
no. Remember in
this
is
doesn't
first
have. So it's full. Okay, so it's a plus.
Semi-automatic-
It is a plus 20 because I'm within half of my distance as well.
it's been a while since I played first.
Semi-automatic is full.
Yeah, semi-automatic is a full, and it's a plus 10, and you are within half, so
Yeah.
plus 10, so plus 20. So you were right, but for the wrong reasons. Does that hit?
That hits with 1.
All right, it will attempt to dodge.
Good.
I rolled 2 doubles. What am I doing?
I have a stub pistol and 6 bullets.
Oh yay! I'm going to be useful.
It succeeds on the
Yeah,
dodge.
it
So
does.
it zips around. So you see as this thing peels, away from the ceiling. Okay. I want to show you guys the picture of this thing because Paco drew it for me. It was like one of the few things he had ready for this, and it's so cool looking. Like I really love the design we were able to make together. By the way, here is some. That has like spoilers and shit.
What?
Bruh.
Here
The
is
best bit
here
of
is the fulminators concept.
Okay.
It's sideways.
You made it sideways.
Oh, whoop. You see that?
Shit. No.
Fuck, it's just fucked, bro. It's just fucked. Ooh, can I have one?
And then the. Oh, I got all these pictures I gotta show you guys. Yeah, here is the picture of the ice pins. That is the one that you are fighting with.
Oh shit.
Spiky.
Sorry,
How-
this one.
Which one?
How far away is it?
So it is across the room. It was right over Jack, and you see that like the spike it had. It was literally like sunk into the ceiling, and that's how it was suspended up.
Yeah, and but how far away? Exactly.
Not he is within maximal range of
Within 5 meters. Of
of Jack, but not you. So
like, is he 5 meters away?
you're right there at that corner. Jack's right here. It's right there.
Yeah, so it's probably like 5 meters away.
Yeah. And then
I'm gonna raise my.
As my reaction, I can take a shot with my las.
Either my plasma cutter or my torch.
sure thing.
And I'm gonna do plasma cutter.
Yoink. That
hits
is a
as well.
success.
It will
And
attempt to dodge once more.
that's at half range. No, it doesn't have any rate of fire.
It succeeds once more.
Oh shit! Let's step aside.
So it's it's just like weaving around, and you can see
I
this
assume
like
it
Okay, where's my
Zoom,
character at this
zoom.
point, by the way?
Yeah.
Did you just leave him outside?
you were still outside because you didn't enter.
And I'm gonna shout to you. Get behind me.
But before you can react, because even though it rolled a 1, it can act first. It's going to zoom forward, and it's basically like as it was dodging around. You can see that it's like final abdomen segment with the spikes is like it's kind of like this weird like fluid inside of it, and it's like heavy as
Is
it's
it my
going
turn
around.
yet?
It's turn. And as it's been dodging, it's basically been gaining momentum as it swirls this thing around, and then it goes right past Jack's neck with an attack.
Goodbye.
I was really hoping the gunfire would attract it to me.
That hits with a charge, right? Is it plus 20 on the charge?
Charge is plus 10 in this.
Oh, yeah. Well, that still hits. So,
Bye-bye, Herhold.
Herhold, you may attempt to... You do not have any weapons drawn. You may attempt to dodge.
Yeah, I'll do that. I think that's a fail.
A positive that's fail.
Do you have any fate points left?
Yeah, actually...
Could you give yourself a plus 10? What's your agility?
My agility is 34.
Damn.
Yeah, so I will roll for damage unless you want to roll.
No, it's roll.
That's also a fail. All right. so you see as this like segment like catches onto Jack's back, digs into him, and then disconnects, and then the thing starts flying away. But as the spikes sink into you, you take 8 plus 3. Yeah, 3. So 11 minus your toughness and your armor towards your body.
11 minus.
No, to your right arm because it's a 15.
Okay, so.
51 reversed to a 15.
Okay, so toughness is 3, armor's 4.
Armor's 4 minus 7, so an 11 minus 7, you only take 4 damage on the arm.
4 damage on the arm.
Now take a toughness test because it is a toxic weapon.
1 second, let me move that 12 to 8.
Toughness test. Do you succeed on the toughness
I
test?
don't think I do. big, but like 3. I failed.
Yeah. All right. You take an additional D10, ignoring toughness and armor. You take 8.
How many hit points do you have?
I'm at 0.
All right. So
Exactly.
you don't die per se.
Shit.
But you take this massive hit, and it's like it's okay. It's like only it's not that bad, and then he just
This
like
shit
falls
again.
unconscious.
This shit again.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then you can see the thing now that it's lost the sack. It's even faster now, and just and then like zips away. And then you can see the fulminators like they kick down the door in the back and they run through. Like, where was it? Was there an attack? We heard fire.
I'm gonna start heading over to him.
Yeah, I'm
Is
gonna
he-
run over and
am I
provide first aid.
unconscious?
I'm gonna provide
You are
first aid.
losing.
Is he
First
is he
aid.
infected? What are the areas that are infected by it right now? The toxin.
So they identify the body.
Right arm.
No, I was
Good
making
news.
a armor check.
You have because I'm
Oh,
doing
oh,
this medicine on you.
foreign
You may
toxins
not
in it.
lose the arm.
Right arm.
That succeeds.
That succeeds?
Oh, he did 11.
Right
I need to get under a
I
74.
am 6.
Again.
So I used Medicaid. I have Master Chirurgeon. So
Robot hand!
If I'm treating a heavily or critically wounded patient, a successful test heals 2 wounds instead of the normal 1. If this character is in danger from losing a limb from a critical hit, plus 20 bonus to toughness test to resist limb loss.
All right, those are both relevant. You are at 2 hit points. I'd imagine. So there is this like if you remember like the Mextroids, like that kind of like thing.
Okay,
that's basically what this thing is. It's
What I imagine
clamped
is
deep into his
I've
arm.
been knocked out onto the ground.
So
and then you come up.
is the
and then I
poison
wanna-
spreading up his arm into his body?
Is that's what you're determining with
Yeah,
the
that's
tools,
what
right? Yes, it is, and it's around the same speed as it was infecting the other guy, so it's slow.
Cool. I would
Okay.
like to apply a tourniquet.
You need to remove this thing first. You were able to stop the superficial damage.
No,
of the
I'm
clamps.
applying a tourniquet up top so it
So it
prevents the
doesn't
seepage
get
of
through.
blood into the bloodstream.
Yeah.
Then
Alright.
we can remove it, and also he will probably be less likely to wake up.
An arm. All right, so you
I'd
that
like to
arm, boy?
inject sedatives as well
Oh
to
yeah,
make sure that he isn't
I have
taking too much
Obscura.
pain.
Can you give me some ketamine?
I mean, Obscura is kind of like ketamine.
So what are you doing as this like sack thing is on?
The
his
sad
arm?
thing. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna like take a dowel, wrap a piece of cloth around it, start twisting to cut off blood flow, and then I'm gonna start I'm gonna reach into my excruciator kit, pull out what looks like a long metal spiked paddle, and start trying to pry it up.
Do you have a
Okay.
mono blade?
No.
And it's like what? Like what are you, Emperor? What are you doing? Like the one with the head hood comes off. Like you strike it once and it makes like a tss noise.
No, I'm prying it off.
Oh yeah.
I'm prying it off, not striking it.
No, it's like he basically like intercepts it. Like he doesn't want you to do that anymore. And it's like, what are you
There
doing?
might be dangers.
I was prying it off, not whacking it.
Are you? No, yeah, even still.
Yeah,
That's his
that's
reaction. Like
that's what normally happens when a bee gets a stinger in you. You don't pull it out,
Yes, you do.
not right away.
we
Otherwise
need.
you
No,
tear.
you cut the
Yes,
blue.
Cut it
Exactly.
out. But right.
Yeah.
I would have known to not do that then, but
But they
Medicaid roll.
essentially they interrupt your process,
Yeah.
and it's like they prioritize extracting this thing before healing him first. And it's like, well, he's not very talkative now. I don't think he would mind if we kind of extract
Right
a piece of
arm.
it. It's important that we keep the specimen in good quality.
Keep the hand.
But the arm's okay if it goes. Piece of it.
Hand is
anyways.
fine.
Herhold is all up on a lot of.
There is no way.
I'd like to
Okay,
use
keep my
mono.
Jack. I've put a tourniquet on Herhold. There's no way in hell he's gonna be awake for this.
I'd like to use the monofilament to try and just like.
Oh.
Yeah, cut it out. Do not
Yeah.
touch the talons. It will inject it further.
I know.
Basically, they will help you do that if you want to do. Let's say
Medicaid test. I'm going to use my thing as well.
do it.
And
Is there any way to create some kind of like
Anything
artificial
else?
suction on the area to just pop the thing out?
If you touch it, it
Can you help
intenses it increases its grip.
that's plus
They're
10.
trying to
have a
cut
better
out.
Medicaid
They're trying to
skill,
carve out the pieces of its
what's
flesh
your
that it's
Medicaid
dug
skill?
into. You're not gonna have
Will
much
they
of an
trust
arm
you
left.
though
Oh.
with your prying?
I have a 73 in Medicaid tests.
Is
Yeah,
my
but-
doctor?
They just
I'm
saw you.
a doctor, and they know I'm a doctor.
Do not touch it, lest you'll lose this man's life.
You're right, doctor.
Hey, I still succeed.
All right.
But you
not-
said a
Oh,
73.
it's 73. I thought that was a 1.
I was helping you, so it's a
Yes.
plus 10. Don't worry.
All right. So so with their assistance, they're all over your body, like cutting and
I
whatever.
spent a lot of money on that hand.
Oh yeah, don't you have the robot arm?
Hand.
Robot hand. Okay, so it is quite the gruely sight. So after carving out a bunch of flesh and being careful not to hit any of the parts of the talons in it, you're able to get to a point. It's like, all right, step back. We will do this extracting part. And then they have like their really like heavy padded leather gloves, and they come in and they lift it up in like one piece. They set it aside. One of them pulls out this like injector thing. And then he just kind of like sinks.
I'm gonna start heading upstairs
falls unconscious.
to deal with the thing up there.
And as soon as they've extracted it, they just like
my new
they basically
arm
like
ready?
they haul it outside and they start working on it. So you're gonna leave. Also, Jack, you are super unconscious right now.
I'm gonna go upstairs and open up the door and see what's inside.
Well, I don't think you'll ever lift an object that weighs more than like 2 pounds again. But at least your cool arm's still around.
But yeah,
It's
my
like
hand is still there.
your arm is like opened.
I was gonna get
It's gonna
cosmetic
be-
surgery on that hand arm anyway.
All
I
right.
can probably like add like mechanical muscles, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But okay. So
Can you like remove the scars?
So you go upstairs and you can see the guy. He's covered in that bee comb thing, and he's basically grown into the floor at the same point where that thing was like feeding underneath. It was like connected to him through the floorboards, and he's just like entirely encased in this stuff. And you can like walk up to it, and he's like huddled like that, and you can see like eye moves around, and he's alive, but not for much longer.
I'm gonna pull out my auger and scan how much. I assume it's most of him, but oh,
He has like moments. He's not gonna survive.
I pull out the plasma cutter and shoot him through the head.
Whoa!
So you're downstairs. You're tending
Yeah.
to the body. It's like all of a sudden you're alone. It's like, where is everyone? Why aren't we supposed to help this guy in critical condition?
Yeah.
Fulminators are gone. Gabe's gone. Where's Gabe? There's like the upstairs illuminates
What
in
the
plasma.
fuck are you doing?
I'm gonna walk downstairs.
What was that?
Those combs were people. It's a good thing we extracted that from him.
Yeah. What was that sound?
We should talk to the fulminators.
Are you not going to answer my question?
No. You can go look for yourself. I'd rather not talk about it if I'm honest. I'm gonna step outside.
All right. So Jack, you're not on death's door anymore, but you are unconscious and you require professional, sustained medical attention. So that's something.
You're not good. You probably won't. Should he make a toughness test to lose the arm?
Was there a question that he was getting his arm back? I'd say like a good portion of your bone is exposed, dude.
You can perform field amputations.
I can do that.
His request was to save the hand. He has no connection to his arm. It's just the hand. That's okay.
I'm going to perform a field amputation.
Do just that. I'm gonna say a -10 Medicaid on that.
Cool, 63.
All right. So you take out. Do you have like some? I imagine you have some sort of torturous tool you can use.
Yes. Yeah, it's just like you know those saws that they use to cut down trees, the 2-person saws.
Oh my god! Jesus. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's the tourniquets.
But it takes like a solid 15 seconds of sawing.
Oh god. So after you probably can't stomach this, but you're just like okay,
Huh?
done, finally.
I could totally fucking stomach that.
Well, like the average person would not stomach that, and he's just like, all right, done.
I look kind of bored while I'm doing it.
It's like the.
I'm not disturbed by the fact that it's happening. I'm just disturbed by the lackadaisical
So like
attitude that he has.
So you have the hand. You're gonna remove the
I
hand.
pocket the hand.
So you pocket the hand. My name is Commissar Herhold.
You're not
I am a
awake.
21-year-old by
You're not
by
awake.
cabin is
You're not awake. I
northeast
just cut off
quadrant
your
of the
arm.
Witch's Bane.
If found, please call and your Vox number.
I am not married. I work as an employee of the
Oh, he's reading. Okay, he's reading the Yoshikage Kira speech.
Okay. So you see that so Herhold's body is laying sprawled on the floor. He'll live, but it's a very messy sight. Yeah, but there's no more life signs in the house besides you guys.
These ice pits, they're not what I've studied about before.
Are you asking the Fulminators?
Yeah,
So you can see that they're
quite a bit larger.
The three of them are they're like huddled together, and you notice that the sack's gone. They've already dealt with that.
Oh, yeah, I've just-
quiet life, free of amputations.
I feel okay. Do we want to? I feel like I've dressed up Herhold in a way it's like he won't bleed out immediately.
He needs immediate attention. Yeah.
We need to.
Did your friend survive?
Yes,
He's alive.
Oh, well,
doctors.
and what of the escapee?
He was already covered in the comb.
Yes.
I gave him a quick death.
Well, not necessary. We can understand the sentimental value of that. I'd recommend, now that the quarantine has been no longer being breached, we should exit with due haste.
Yes.
And we shall accompany us, please.
These creatures,
Yes.
they're not ice pits fully. Are they some genetic strain related?
Due to the they'll look up for a second, and it's like, due to the nature of this planet, most species suffer from gigantism. It is what drives the drive behind the evolutionary strain of the Striders. And similarly for the ice pigs, which usually do not pose such a large threat to man, in this situation they are much larger, and that is why our organization was founded on fighting them.
Are they a problem for the Striders?
Yes, they are attracted to dampness, and the Striders are one of the largest providers of heat and warmth above the surface of the ocean on this planet. So most fauna that are not aquatic in nature live here, as if they were to not live on the Striders, they would surely perish.
My eyes harden and I say, have you tried poisoning the food supply?
The people.
Yes.
Oh, that could work. Yeah.
There's kind of like this silence. It's like, do you want to read into? He doesn't really want to answer. Do you want to pry any further?
I mean,
You have one.
No. If that's what you're asking, no.
Okay.
We do not.
That's good.
Good. Like the tone is very much shifted. This is.
well, I mean, see, trace amounts. Okay, so let's see.
So, can someone help up here? I have sub 30 strength, and I'm trying to get Herhold out of here.
We should help you, friend.
Yes.
And then you guys kind of lock gaze as the two masked ones go up to assist with the carrying.
Oh, has my hat fallen over?
Thank you,
Yes.
citizen.
I've got your
for
hat.
your
Okay,
help on
nobody's
this
seen
mission.
what's inside the hat,
I
right?
must implore you
I
to
know.
not let
Because that has the governor's
Yes.
seal on it.
Yes.
We appreciate your help, but we must part ways now.
Well, actually, we were here for another reason. We're to speak with the Fulminators. Command.
Fulminators.
You were doing just that. Do you mean you wish to speak with
The
a
command
leadership?
structure. Yes.
Well, you have afforded the Fulminators a great service this day in
We can set up a
preventing-
time.
Yes. Well, he's kind of stuttering on these kind of this. I will talk with others and see if we cannot continue this alliance. Yes, that is what we will do. But for now, we must part ways. We shall extract your friend,
Indeed.
and we shall make sure that the yes. He like thinks of saying something and he stops.
If you have something to say, please.
Nothing relevant. Let us go. It is dangerous here. He sheaths his like little pistol thing that he had drawn.
If you have made a judgment on me, I would like to know.
That's a fellowship. It's gonna be a -10 on that. These guys, half of their face is not readable, so it's hard to determine what he's even thinking.
I pass.
Yeah.
Okay, so despite your character's difficulty with others, even you can tell something is off. He doesn't really like that you're prying into the command structure, and although he hasn't told you anything about the command structure, it's obviously a sore subject they don't like talking about. But begrudgingly, because you've obviously done something for them that they appreciate a lot, you've earned some moniker of respect. So it's kind of like a begrudging respect of an outsider. That's what all of that stilted dialogue was. Yeah, so good roll.
I thought he was judging me because I was like, why didn't you poison the food supply?
Yeah, so they leave with you, and you go through the hole, and you can see that the crowd has gathered again.
Could I use some of that to just show, like, from that, like, that I genuinely would like to help out here?
What do you mean?
Like, with the role, like, convey that.
Oh, okay. So you just want to
Yeah.
like make sure it's like you just care about that. It's like yes. We at the Fulminators also care about containing the ice spit infection, ensuring that it does not spread to more stragglers.
Yep.
But at that point, you guys you leave. You go through the point of that point of extraction, and you can see there's tons of ice warriors. They've all shown up, and they're basically making like a human wall in front of the quarantine line. And you can see that people heard the gunshots, and people are not happy. They're like up here, and it's like, why can't I go in? Please tell me what's going on. And you guys wade in, and the Valhallans, they see you coming over. And one of them, like a sergeant or something, not like an extremely high rank, but whoever is running like the particular outpost that you saw from before, he like waves you over, like lets you guys come back in. The Fulminators will take out a little tool, and they'll scan all of you guys one last time, ensure that you guys are clean of infection. But then they request for the sergeant to disperse the crowd. And they're having issues right now because they won't let you get through.
My hand is going to go like that.
It's not attached to your body.
It is a robot hand, okay? If any,
It's possessed.
yeah, but
That's not how prosthetics work.
robot hand.
Robot hand.
Robot hand.
His robot hand crawls up on your shoulder and starts jumping.
No, it starts doing it. Hello, you know the
Then it
No.
starts choking.
you know that thing at the end of Spaceballs where the alien bursts out the guy's stomach and starts singing "Hello,
No.
my baby"?
No.
And
Crab rave. He thinks Herhold is dead.
So they're having trouble.
You can't get through.
So-
There's too many people trying to force their
So
way in.
you're finally awake.
So you're on a current predicament.
You have
Your face is unconscious and you can't get this crowd to disperse.
What?
Your face is unconscious and you can't get this crowd to disperse.
I can intimidate them if you want.
Why is my face unconscious?
No, the party roll.
Guys, take my bolt pistol.
I can intimidate them.
Oh, good idea.
My intimidate is 73 because it's based on strength.
You may attempt to do so. You are also not.
I have Machinator, which adds +10 to my strength and
Wait,
constitution.
did you spend 4 upgrades on strength?
No. I have Machinator. It gives me a +10 to my strength and constitution and a -5 to my agility and fellowship.
Yes. Anyway, so what's the deal?
I'm gonna say that.
Get the fuck out of the way.
I can disperse them, but it will be
gone.
intimidating.
Are you sure? Well, we will stay here, try to devise an alternative, and you can see the Valhallan sergeant gets on like a soapbox or something. He starts calling down. It's like, citizens disperse.
I'll wait
Must
and
leave.
see if that works.
Do a roll. Do an air of authority roll.
Yeah.
Sure. No, that does not.
No.
And they let slide. It's like, this area is under quarantine, and then they not realizing that people don't know what that means. It's like quarantine, and then people start getting angrier.
I'm gonna step forward and is there something is there
Just
like
shoot
a
a gun in the air.
No, is there like a
Elevated.
can
Yeah,
or
he
like
was-
an empty barrel
The
or something
sergeant's on
like
top
that?
of that. He's doing.
I tell him to step off,
And he kind of, it's like, what? And it gets down.
and then I crush it with my hand.
Boom. All right. So
And create a noise, and then I say, "All citizens, leave this area."
all right, roll. And that succeeds with enough degrees. Yeah. So that stuns people, and they just kind of they all take a step back. It's not necessarily persuasive, but it is scary. So now you have a way of getting out. So you can now transport Herhold's body.
Okay.
And then you come out of the quarantine area.
That probably just made us lose a lot of subtlety.
Oh, what do you want to? Do you want to say anything else, or are you just going to stop at this point? Do you want to take it further?
I'm going to say
Should go to the.
I want to put this on the Adeptus Mechanicus.
What?
So
Oh.
I'm going to say
This is orders of the Adeptus.
this is orders of the Adeptus Mechanicus on this world.
All right. I will have a +20 fellowship.
That's like almost a Herhold level pass.
Yeah.
That succeeds. They believe you.
It's
that's-
the things I'm bad at that I do well at.
They're not necessarily happy
Have
about
roll
that.
stats. I will roll ones on this.
So they are convinced, but not necessarily happy. So
That's
and
good.
But the attention's on you, so you are able to slip through with your bonuses and whatever. You're able to get into the crowd unnoticed,
Okay.
even despite with the body and
We
everything.
get a body of a dead Valhalla with what arm?
Yep.
And a gas mask still on.
And then I'm going to look over at the fulminators and I'm going to say, well, I don't think I'm going to be leaving this place any soon. So
We understand. Thank you for granting us an exit, and then they kind of disperse into the crowd. And I'd imagine you'd spend the rest of the like a few minutes there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is 8:30 right now. I think we can call the session there. Good job, guys.
Hey.
Yeah. So first
I want to fight one more of those bugs.
Bug Man.
I want to fight bug.
All right, you can turn off the.
You guys, I made up a reason that I wanted to go to this place. That